Well, if it is our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Oh, well, sure. We're about as ready as we can be at 5:41 in the God Blessed AM. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to everyone and all of y'all for punching in the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. This is me on about an hour's sleep right here.
I imagine you're not alone for anybody that's up right now.
No, I'm not alone. This is me on about an hour's sleep. I stayed awake until the bitter end of last night's Timberwolves playoff game. I want to once again thank the NBA, ESPN, whoever it is. I want to thank them again for having so much consideration for the sports fans here in the Twin Cities, because it's not as if any of us have to wake up in the morning and try to perform a job, right?
I didn't want to stay up. My plan was to only make it until halftime, but then I stayed up.
You powered through?
That's what they do to
you.
That's how they get you.
Thank you again.
Stupid.
The NHL, we should thank them for what they put us through. The NBA, we need to thank them. Again, I don't know who it is. The television, of course, it's all about money, you know. But it's not as if any of us have anything to do in the morning. So a pack of donkeys is what they are, Josh.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not very considerate.
A pack of donkeys. So I might give way at one point or another. And like Josh said, I'm not the only one. The grand difference between this version of me on 1 hour's sleep compared to 20 years ago is that 20 years ago, I would have also probably dumped about 16 cans of beer into my gut watching the late night playoff game and then come on into work on 1 hour's sleep.
Late. Back in the day, maybe you would have came in late.
Probably would have been
on time today.
Probably would have been a little late back then, right?
It's crazy how different that is, how much easier it is to wake up in the morning if you haven't gotten any sleep when you don't drink.
When you don't have a case of beer.
It's so much easier.
It is.
Funny how that works.
Last night, my number of beers matches the number of platinum records that the band Tough had. And as Josh knows, Tough went platinum how many times?
0 times. That's one of my favorite lyrics of all time in any song.
Oh, God.
They went platinum 0 times.
I've hurt myself already. I've hurt myself.
You know, sometimes being exhausted can be kind of fun.
Yes, it can.
Slap happy fun.
Yep.
Hopefully not annoying to other people, but sometimes it's just a good all-around time.
There's been a benefit to that throughout our entire radio career. I have at times tried not to get too much sleep, really, because when you come in a little goofy on only an hour or two, yeah, there's that slap-happy kind of, you feel half stoned coming into the mix,
Yep.
and it can benefit the situation. And then at 9 a.m., you crash hard.
that wall hits harder than normal.
You crashed hard like your name was Jean-Luc Picard. I'll tell you that right now. All right, the Wolves won. We can get into that later. So we might be a little weird today, like a lot of yous. Hey, Cubby.
Yes.
I saw some information about how the women, they can't get enough of guys like you and me. And some of you might be saying, what do you mean guys like you and Josh? You mean like tall guys? No, it's not our height. It's not our height that the women love. Some of you might be saying, what do you mean? Wildly successful and influential on-air broadcasters? No, it's not our on-air success and influence that they love. Not that it hurts at all. It's our bald skulls, bruh.
I could tell you this. My wife is into two types of guys, one of them being bald. She prefers a bald gentleman.
Is this just a morale booster?
It could be.
That somebody makes up every 4 or 5 months. You know what I'm saying? Is this fake? Is this a morale booster for the bald fellas? Because every few months, some kind of article falls into our lap saying that women cannot wait to fold a bald man.
I've heard women say it, but it could be a morale booster.
Okay.
What demographic of women?
All of them.
The ones that are female.
I wasn't sure if it was like what age group.
18. I have an 18 to 80.
Because I've never heard any woman around my age ever say something like that.
That's because you're very mean at your age. More anxiety than hair, Jesus said. I'm listening.
Yeah, even if it is just a morale boost, let's say you take the win where you can get one.
Along those lines, I had looked up some bald facts, and this is the one that
facts
seemed the most interesting and also not worth it. The best way to avoid going bald is castration before you start losing your hair. I think I'll just go bald.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, what are my choices here? Well, you could go bald, and a small segment of women are into that. Or you could just remove your nuts before a single follicle falls out your hair.
The testosterone thing.
Yeah, something about that.
That's drastic. That sounds drastic to me.
I'm not quite that vain. I'll just be bald. Yeah, but my wife says she's into that, and that's the only woman I need to impress.
Was there evidence before you that leads you to believe she was into bald guys?
No, none whatsoever. You're asking in her dating history were there bald guys?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay. Sorry for asking that question.
She settled.
You know, it's kind of the same song and dance that you've heard before. And like I said, one of these bald dude morale boosters comes this way, falls into our laps every few months. A new survey by folks who go by the name of illicitencounters.com. That sounds familiar. Have we, Josh, set up one-nighters with these people before?
No, I've never been on that before. I think we've heard of it.
They found that 40% of all women from the age of 18 to 111 found that 40% of women consider baldness on a man very, very sexy.
You seem disgusted by this, Ashley, so you disagree?
I do. Yeah, no, I very much like a full head of hair. Thick hair.
Now, what happens...
You're not a woman.
Yeah, I thought you were a woman.
At least not between the ages of 18 and 111.
You're not a woman. Call yourself a woman.
Yeah, that's something I've even looked at because I think they claim it's your mother's side that you have to look at when it comes to balding, and that's something I definitely check out when I'm starting to get serious with a guy.
Oh, it means that much to you?
I guess. I mean, I'd prefer them to have hair longer than not.
So you'll look at the maternal grandfather, and if he's bald, you think, I don't know if this is going to last.
I'm like, all right. It's better because I mentally prepare myself for that. All right, there's going to be a time where he loses his hair. You're going to have to just accept that now.
My dad had hair up until when he passed. He had a full head of hair his entire life.
Yeah, but
no bald spot, nothing.
You're going to look terrible, too, at that point, actually. So
hopefully I still have my hair.
You both look terrible. That's the beauty of, if there is any beauty at all in a long-term monogamous relationship. I don't know that there is yet. I'll find out. If there is any magic or beauty of getting yourself wound up in a long-term monogamous relationship, is that by the end, you both just look like garbage, and then it doesn't matter. You both look like separate piles of garbage is what you look like.
I do think it depends on their age, because there's some actors, I can't think of their names off the top of my head, of course, but where they're bald and then they're also tatted up. They're a little bit younger, so
they look cool.
20s or 30s, and that looks good. I'm a fan of that.
There's something cool about a young man who's bald and covered in tattoos, is what you're saying?
Maybe it's because it's not they're not hanging on to anything anymore. They want to be bald.
See, here's the thing. We're focusing too much on the look. You're saying, well, I like a full head of hairdo on a guy. But there are some guys who wear it well because then they match it up with tattoo. It's not the look that all women 18 to 111 are attracted to. It's that we bald guys are confident.
Oh,
and
hell
boy,
yeah.
doesn't that spell out cubby right there.
I'm the definition of that.
We can explain this joke in a couple of months, but confidence level, Nick, 100%. Josh, 0%.
That will make sense in a couple months. Chaos Coordinator Sheezes totally agrees with you, Ashley. Bald and tattoos.
I just like that Ashley has scouted out family trees before, like dating a guy. Hey, do you got a picture of your mom's great-grandpa by chance?
Yeah.
100%.
It's our confidence cubby.
I'm not fat. I'm aerodynamic, Jesus said. When will it be portly exhausted with average phallus trend? That's what he's waiting for.
Yeah, we don't get those articles yet. We haven't gotten the article yet, sorry, that mentions women's unbridled attraction to that look. But we do get a lot of bald stories, articles on women loving bald men. Dana, what the hell were you thinking stitching that horsehair into your skull a few months ago?
Maybe I shouldn't have. No, I'm really glad I did. Sorry, guys.
Classic Country Jesus said, in my 16-plus years of shaving my head, no one has complimented my baldness other than other bald guys. I get comments on being bald at times that I can tell are veiled insults a little bit.
Well, yeah, there's always going to be the dudes who go for the easy joke.
Remember the guy
Bald jokes don't affect me because that's the lowest hanging fruit possible. You have very, very limited creativity if your only shot you can take at a person is their hairdo.
Do you remember we were at a bar once and you took your hat off and some guy let you know you were bald?
Yeah.
You remember you snapped at him? That
Yeah.
was pretty good.
Yeah.
As if you had no idea.
Right. And that bit is so tired. It's so easy. It's the confidence thing that the ladies love. Many women associate baldness with confidence and self-assurance.
Let me ask you guys this. Do bald guys kind of give each other like the respect nod when you see a fellow bald guy, kind of like plow drivers might, kind of give a nod to a fellow plow driver out on the roads?
No, this isn't an episode of The Family Guy. No.
This isn't Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah, no, we don't have any.
There's no secret handshake or anything?
You were a bald guy up until like 15 minutes ago. You should know this.
Yeah, it was getting dicey there for a bit.
I love how you've all of a sudden you're of a different class.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I don't associate myself with you people. You tell me what it's like to live that lifestyle, because I have no idea.
You are a bald guy. You're just a bald guy that's had a procedure. Embracing a bald look can signify our maturity and reliability. Ooh, and the ladies love it.
This is the comment I get. And there's one guy in this building that does it quite often. Wow, you really keep it tight, don't you? That type of thing, as if you should let it grow out. I got a couple people that say that.
Yeah, I've never.
Quite often.
I don't listen to them because it's always so.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like a compliment at all.
It's always so lame.
No, it's not a compliment. It's a what are you doing?
Weird. Yeah, I don't like that.
Just an awkward attempt to start conversation.
Mean.
Ladies say that men who try to hide their baldness seem weak and insecure.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that.
Also,
hat fishing. People talk about hat fishing. I just like wearing them. I have my entire life.
Fishing?
Where hat fishing is where a guy would wear a hat and people think it's just to cover up the fact they're bald, like to surprise folks.
Oh.
Like dating profile specifically, people joke that you're being hat-fished.
Yeah, that happened to me once. I was not a fan of that situation.
I've been a hat person my whole life.
Me too.
And some of you might say, well, that's why you went bald. That's not why anyone has ever gone bald.
No, that's been debunked.
We talked to a hair restoration guy that said that's BS.
Yeah, it is. I've always loved to wear a lid. As a matter of fact, my junior high did not allow hats. And interestingly, sadly maybe, I remember a couple of weeks before high school started, we're sitting around a buddy's backyard drinking beer, me and some pals, and we were all talking about, hey, we're only a couple of weeks away from high school, and talking about all the cool things that were to come. All the girls from the opposite junior highs were all going to be in one spot, and everyone's going to start driving, and there's going to be keg parties. And one of us said, dude, we can wear hats to school. How stupid. But
it was a big deal.
I was excited about it. I was excited about it. What else are they saying? Now, Cubby, keep this in mind, and other bald fellers out there. A key to the bald look, these are the ladies talking now, is well-maintained facial hair matched up with your bald skull. That adds to the sexiness, they say. A well-maintained beard goes a long way to making the bald look off the charts hot to the foxy ladies.
Well, I've mentioned many times my wife hates my face. When I shave it all the way down, doesn't like it whatsoever. She prefers it to be covered up with some sort of facial hair.
Bald pimps are perceived to be dominant, confident, and masculine. Oh, man, another win for me and Josh.
I'm happy for you guys.
How are two guys so lucky?
I don't know. And, we were just talking about the hat thing. This is, go ahead. Tell me where you go with this. Tell me how you feel about this. Dudes who still wear their hat backwards. There are some, how do I want to say this? Guys who still rock their hat backwards aren't just going for a certain look. They're showing you something about who they are. It's not just a style. Now, I'll tell you what I have in front of me, and then I'll take it in a certain direction. So guys who still wear their hat backwards aren't just going for a certain look. They're showing you something about who they are. It's not just a style. New research shows that a guy wearing his hat backwards is displaying these three personality traits. Authentic self-expression, a non-conformist attitude. Oh, God, look out, right?
Oh, bad boy.
That means you're not afraid
to
go there.
You're not afraid to go there. And the third personality trait that a guy with a backwards hat is displaying, youthful energy / rebellion. Now, I don't represent any of those three things when I wear my hat backwards. If you see me with my hat on backwards, it's because I have an enormous oversized skull, and wearing a hat backwards sometimes feels more comfortable than forwards.
I totally agree. I think there's some frontwards hats and some that just work better backwards.
Right.
I love a backwards hat on a guy, especially when they're in the middle of doing something and they have to focus, so they flip their hat backwards. Yeah, that's the good stuff right there.
Sure.
I like wearing it backwards just for that reason. Where some of them they're more comfortable or look better backwards. I mentioned, I think, this to you guys when I went to Boston. I believe when they hand you a hat, they tell you can't wear it forward.
Oh, yeah.
There were so many backward hats. It was crazy.
I can see that.
But, I suppose maybe there are some dudes out there who display these three personality traits who wear their hat backwards for a reason. I've never worn it for any other reason other than what I already explained. I have a fat noggin.
Up at the crack of dawn, Jesus doesn't agree. He said guys who wear their hat backwards are showing something. They're showing that they peaked in high school.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you don't look good in a backwards hat, do you?
There's definitely those out there. I hear what you're saying.
There are some people who really react to a backwards hat. I've been...
Like you're fronting of something.
Right. I've been experiencing that since I was a young kid,
It's so hot.
It enrages some of the older guys. I mean, I've come nose to nose and almost been in a fight with an elderly guy at my neighborhood bar years ago because he just wet his pants when I spun my hat backwards sitting next to him at the bar, where I had to turn to this old-timer and say, how far do you want to take this? I mean, he just turned red.
Weird.
And I couldn't believe it. I said, what is your friggin' problem?
Right.
To where here's me at the time I was 43 years old or something, and here's this guy who's 80 or whatever, and another man who was 70-something had to get in between us. And I said, I'm not afraid to knock an 80-year-old out.
Good for you. That is so weird.
It was bizarre. It was truly bizarre.
Fitted hats I wear backwards. Usually that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, they look great backwards. But growing up, I knew better than to ever wear a backwards hat around my grandpa. Oh, that I would have had hell to pay back.
Yeah. Some of the older cats, they've got some real serious vibes about that. See, the fitted hat I can't do anymore because, again, with the big, fat, oversized cranium, I stretch them out. Just having it on my head for 2-3 times a week for 6-8 months, my skull stretches them out, and then they're too big, and then I got to throw them away.
And I have a hard time finding a fitted hat in my size sometimes because I'm like you, Nick. I have a big, fat, stupid, ugly head. And I remember one time in high school, a buddy of mine was going to the mall, and I said, hey, will you grab me that Twins hat that I had my eye on? I'll pay you back for it. And he just goes, no, I'd be too embarrassed to ask for your size, Dana. I'm not doing that. Okay, thank you.
This person wears their hat backwards by habit, keeping it backwards on a motorcycle. Sure.
Motorcycle.
Oh, that's a good look.
This is silly right here. This article about backwards hats says the backwards hat look was popularized by guys like Will Smith, Ken Griffey Jr., and Tupac Shakur. What are you, stupid?
Well, for my age group, absolutely.
But backwards hats were a thing way before Will Smith, Ken Griffey Jr., and Tupac Shakur. You're giving these guys too much damn credit.
That's the whole reason I started wearing backwards hats. You saw Ken Griffey Jr. out there in the outfield with his hat on backwards during BP, and that was just such a cool look.
I was wearing a backwards hat when Ken Griffey Jr. was a wrinkle in the sheets. A lot of us were.
He was born in 1969.
Yeah, he was.
You were born in 1960.
Prove it.
There you go.
Elementary school custodian Jesus said, my hair is just so full and perfect. Hats don't fit or work for me. You don't want to cover that up.
There's something to that. There's some guys that, they cannot wear it.
It's too perfect.
Too thick of hair.
Oh,
It just
gotcha.
looks silly.
Oh, I got the one friend who has his thoughts on, everything that everyone ever does. What you wear, what you say, what you do for a living. He's got his opinion on all of it, right? One night at the bar, we're playing pool. Guy about 60 years old has got a hat on backwards. We're playing pool against him. And my buddy, just because he can't keep his mouth shut, he says, no guy over 35 should ever wear his hat backwards. Says this to this complete stranger, 60-year-old man who's got his hat on backwards. And the older guy's like, well, who the hell made you the boss of friggin' fashion here at the YZ Allegiant? 2 weeks later, my buddy's sitting at the bar having breakfast with his hat on backwards.
Of course.
I said, you're a hypocritical prick.
What about flat-brimmed hats? Your thoughts?
They look silly.
Yeah, that's a no.
I was never into that trend.
Yeah, they look silly.
Also, leaving the sticker on the hat, I hate that look.
I don't see that as much.
Yeah, I feel like that one's cooled down. I think people realize the mistakes of their ways.
I kind of see that at baseball games, I think, is where I see that the most.
The sticker on the hat
Yeah,
still?
for a while, it seemed like everybody had that.
I had a buddy, speaking of good hair and hats, he had a good head of hair. He kind of had that hockey hair thing going on, and he'd have his hat, and his hair would just curl up, over the, underneath the hat, and it looked so cool. And we were always impressed with it. And then one day, his dad let us in on the fact that he used a curling iron to make that look happen every morning before school.
That was popular for a while.
And we just roasted the dude. His dad just goes, yeah, it's because he used your sister's curling iron to make it look like that every morning. Just called him out.
I never used a curling iron, even when the curled hair was cool back in the day.
It's dangerous. Be careful.
Oh,
Curling iron.
I've touched one of those not realizing it was hot. Very ouchy.
You never used a curling iron, huh?
No.
No, God, why would you? I've never heard of a guy using a curling iron.
Oh, there was guys that used that for sure
Huh?
in middle school.
Really?
It, just like what Dana said, they curled it in the back because they wanted the curls
Oh,
back.
for Christ's sake, I never in a million years would have assumed that a guy was at home using a curling iron on his hairdo. I mean, unless you're in a world famous rock band or something.
Sure.
I never would have considered such a thing. But I did have a couple of my friends when we were in grade school get perms.
Oh, I had a friend that got a perm one. That was a huge
The
mistake.
tight little curls,
Yeah.
tight little.
Yep.
When 80, 82, 83, that became popular real quick. Two of my best friends had their hair permed. One of them wore it really well. I actually thought, wow, that looks cool. The other guy didn't. It was far from cool.
Yeah, the girl I knew that got it done.
But they went for it. They went for it.
It didn't look great, and so then she tried to straighten it, and it was awful.
Quite a
You'd never
people-
do that.
quite a people think putting your hat on backwards makes you look like a douchebag.
I don't care.
I think it's just because those people can't rock it.
That's ridiculous.
At times it's more comfortable or whatever
It's
you're
ridiculous. You're simply putting a hat on backwards. How much of an effect could that have on anybody?
I didn't know it was that divisive.
Don't care.
Yeah,
Don't care.
I thought most people didn't care.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't, for Christ's sake.
Did you ever try and put it on sideways or anything like that back when that was
Oh, Lord.
a thing for a
you mean
couple
like
of seconds?
Flavor Flav
Yeah.
or something? Well, no.
I never tried that.
No.
I rarely put my hood up, but it was chilly outside, and I put my hood up. This was a couple of years ago, and people were commenting on it, like, well, why are you so nefarious? Why do you look like you're about to...
People have their ideas of, Jesus balls. It's so silly, If my hood is up, it's because I'm cold.
I know.
But everyone has these ideas that you're trying to send some message. For God's sake, I've never been that kind of a guy, trying to send a message with my appearance, to send some kind of a... That's bizarre to me.
Here's the theory on backwards hats and why it makes you look like a douchebag.
Okay, I can't wait for this.
2 words. Fred Durst. People are saying
He didn't do
Fred
anything to help
Durst
the movement.
ruined backwards hats.
You're... All right. I don't know. I have nothing to do with Fred Durst, so...
Always tired Southern Minnesota welder Jesus brings up a good point. It wasn't, Tupac or Ken Griffey Jr. It was Stallone and Over the Top that made the backwards hat cool. Because, when he turned that hat backwards, he turned into the machine.
Yeah, Lincoln Hawk?
Yeah.
That's where you get your power.
That's how you beat a guy in arm wrestling 3 times your size.
If we're going with motion pictures, I'll go even further back than that. Philo Beto's brother in the movie Everything, how do you say it again? Every Which Way But Loose. I can't remember his name. Fido, what the hell was Clint Eastwood's character name in Every Which Way But Loose? Fido Beto. Who wants to look it up for me? His brother had the backwards trucker hat. Every Which Way But Loose?
Philo Beto.
Beto. Yeah, Philo is the first name.
Yep.
The orangutan, Clyde, anybody? Every Which Way
No.
But Loose?
Haven't seen it.
What?
I was 3 when it came out. And
Well, yeah,
it wasn't like on television constantly.
Well, yeah, it was.
Well, not at my house.
Every Which Way But Loose.
Oh, Beverly D'Angelo's in it.
Yes! Josh, it's a Beverly D'Angelo movie.
I like Beverly D'Angelo quite a bit.
First set of boobs I ever saw?
I thought all kids from our age range had to see Every Which Way But Loose.
I mean, you got to keep in mind, I grew up in a household with 4 adult women, and they chose what we were going to watch on television.
Ooh,
a lot
man.
of Days of Our Lives, Price is Right, that kind of stuff.
It could be rough. We got to get moving here on the program. A little bit later on, Glen Perkins will stop by to talk Twins baseball. Randy Shaver, of course, right around the same time, 7:30. Is C. Willi Myles coming in?
He is.
C. Willi Myles, world-famous entertainer, stopping on by as well. So we appreciate you being there. We'll take a break. Stupid News will be right around the corner here on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listeners, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum, he knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Will Wheaton is here. I'm getting ready to do this podcast. I text my Star Trek family. That is a supernatural impulse.
If you're here for Jay Moore, you found the right place.
Have you always had a large personality? The nicest way anybody's ever put it. You always warn people out.
From Twilight, Ashley Green.
We were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie.
I really love the movies.
Don't feel bad.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid News on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
We were rapping about our noggins, which I found to be tedious.
It was a little tedious.
I got a big, fat, oversized skull. It ain't easy. Then we got to talking about wearing hats to cover our craniums. forwards, backwards. Some folks have a real problem with backwards hats.
I didn't know that till this morning.
Oh, you never knew that?
No.
Oh,
I mean, I knew like some old timers did for various reasons, but people, our age or younger, I didn't think anyone cared.
It's a widespread issue. It's just silliness.
News to me.
Absolute silliness. Now, a listener has informed me that there is a specific website for those of us with massive planet-sized domes. He sent me a link. That's what he went ahead and did. He sent me some links. And one of them was to a website called bigheadcaps.com. It's an option. I looked it up. It's an option.
Do they have some good ones on there?
I can't say I was crazy about what I saw but I'm just saying it's an option. Instead of having a headache all day long.
You're not going to get a big bucket hat from there?
Well, I
did see the bucket hats on there.
I wouldn't call it a bucket hat, but I do have a Gilligan. That's what I've always called it. A Gilligan-style hat that I wear out on the boat.
Oh, yeah. The boat hat.
Yeah, I got a boat hat. Yeah, I don't know if you'd call it a bucket. The bucket hat kind of flops around. It's not floppy. When I was a kid, one of my buddies showed up at grade school with a Gilligan hat, and he had like a San Diego Chargers Gilligan hat. I thought it was the coolest thing. Like 1982, 83. I mean, Dan Fouts and Kellen Winslow. The coolest thing in the NFL were the San Diego Chargers. I was so jealous of that kid's hat. So I said to my mom, I said, Donnie came to school with a Gilligan hat with the San Diego Chargers. Can I get something like that? Can I? And she said, well, I suppose, what team would you want? And at the time, I've always liked the Indianapolis Colts, the simplicity of and so at the time they were Baltimore. And I told my mom, I said, can you get me a Baltimore Colts Gilligan hat? And she said yes, and I couldn't believe it. She never said yes to anything, and save your jokes. About a week later, she walks up with this blue Gilligan hat, and she had sewn an Indianapolis Colts logo onto it.
That's actually so sweet.
And she said, here. I said, well, what's this? And she said, I did it myself. I said, I didn't want you to do it yourself. I wanted you to go out and buy me the...
Visors haven't come out of this tedious conversation unscathed. People are going after visors.
Oh, I had a visor phase.
I know.
I used to have to wear them when I worked at a sandwich shop. That was a part of our uniform.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I played softball, we wore visors instead of normal baseball caps.
You wore them on your own or in the softball league? Or
yeah.
They told you to?
Yep, they told us to. It was a part of our uniform. And I always hated them so much.
Here's all I can say about visors. The one time that I wore a visor, it was because Josh and I were at a death metal concert and we were looking to start trouble.
You guys are so cute.
I put on a visor I put it on and Josh is like, oh, dude. And I said, yeah, I know. We're going to start trouble with this. And we did.
I had a friend that had one with the fake hair, like spiky.
Yeah.
So this person says on visors, nothing says I'm a D-bag like a backwards upside down visor.
Oh, man.
I don't know how anyone put on a backwards upside down visor. That just sounds like the dumbest thing possible. The dumbest idea possible.
How did you wear yours, Dana?
Backwards and upside down.
Did you really?
Yes. I'll bring you some pictures for you guys.
I didn't know anybody did that in a serious sense. I always thought it was just to be silly, goofy.
I'm as open-minded as a guy can be on hat styles, but come on with that. It's upside down and backwards, and it's a visor?
Yep.
And you didn't need the fake hair in the visor, Dana, because you were rocking that kind of hairdo, weren't you?
I had the big flow back in the
Why don't you just stand on a street corner with a sign that says, punch me in the jaw?
To those anti-backwards hat guys, sometimes certain hats, like I said, they just look better backwards, and I have to because I have a weird-shaped head. It's very
narrow.
That's the thing. It's narrow,
yeah,
but it's very long.
Yeah.
And I always equate it to the Alien in Alien.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
It does.
It's thin from the profile, but when you look at me profile's aside. If you look at me, face to face, it's thin. But on the side, it's ridiculous.
It is. It's odd looking.
It is. It's a strange head. So sometimes if I wear a regular hat, it sticks out so far on the sides, it looks stupid. There's
whenever I'm face to face with Josh, like nose to nose, I always want to say, get away from her, you bitch! Anyone get the reference? Josh did.
Of course I do.
Sorry.
Aliens, 1986. Sigourney Weaver.
It's been a long time.
Legendary scene.
Well, I was going to say even if you haven't seen the movie, that's pretty legendary.
Legendary movie scene. Okay. After a couple weeks, Ashley, after I calmed down, I did appreciate my mom creating for me with her sewing machine an Indianapolis Colts Gilligan hat. I did.
Oh, well, that's good.
And I wore it as my fishing hat until I was like 46 years old, and I lost it. And it had it for.
Oh, that makes my heart warm.
At first, I was kind of mad that she didn't go to, the sports shop, but she made it. I grew up a little bit. Let's get this deal rolling already. Let's see where we're going here for starters in today's stupid news. Oh, we're starting in Russia. It's always a problem in Russia. They're idiots over there. Oh, no.
What?
Grandma fell down. We got a grandma here that went down. Skis. Says here an 80-year-old Russian woman fell smooth out the window of her 6th floor apartment. She did.
There's a video of it, which is on 93x.com. If you get a chance, it's worth the watch.
An 80-year-old Russian woman fell smooth out the window of her 6th floor apartment. God rest her. Oh, wait a minute. By damn, she lived.
Yeah, so it's okay to laugh.
And she walked away from the fall like it ain't no thing but a Russian chicken wing. And everybody's talking about this. Of course, like Josh said, there's video. Is it up on our website?
Yep.
Unfortunately, when you watch the video, if you have your sound on, there's a loud as hell car alarm that'll just blow your brains out. The video comes from a stationary security camera by the parked car that she smashed down onto.
It was like a movie.
Out a 6th floor apartment window, landed, Grandma Smirnoff over there, landed on her back on the lid of a damned parked car, and Grandma landed hard.
Oh, yeah.
But she effing lived, and from what the story tells me, she was more or less uninjured. Josh is correct. It was like you were watching an action movie. Word is, last Thursday, Grandma was cleaning the windows of her apartment. Up there on the 6th floor. The 6th floor.
Oh, this is going to happen to my mom one day. She does that. She just dangles outside the windows.
From what I understand, just for a split second, and that's all that it takes. Just for a split second, she lost her focus on what she was doing up there, cleaning her apartment. And there she went, ass over apple cart, falling through the sky. 99 times out of 100, she would have been killed dead. How she survived this is what has every damn buddy fascinated. She peeled her 80-year-old carcass very slowly off the lid of that car, put a dent in that damn thing. I mean, again, just like the movies. But boom, the lid on that car sunk down to more or less the driver's seat, Josh. Am I correct? The
Pretty much. And when you see just when they have her building and they circled where she fell from, it's even more amazing.
Yeah.
Because in the video, you don't see how high it is. You just see kind of the very end of it. I can't. This woman I have no idea how she walked away unscathed.
She has a guardian angel that works overtime.
She peeled her 80-year-old carcass off the lid of that car. She walked away. Now, she asked a neighbor for help because she thought, okay, I'm sure this old lady must have been thinking, this is too good to be true. How am I walking around right now? I better ask. She asked a neighbor for help. That neighbor took her on over to the local hospital to make sure she was all right. And by some damn miracle, she's fine. And in good enough shape to do something really effing stupid again in the near future, I would imagine.
I wonder if your insurance covers that.
I was just going to say, I'd love to be on the phone with the insurance agent to hear that explanation. Thank goodness everybody has dash cams in Russia. We were able to watch this.
Is that what that's from? And so it's not a security cam, it was somebody's dash cam?
No, that was that was a CCTV cam. But I'm just saying, like, you get to see this kind of thing.
Oh. Anytime,
I love watching those videos.
When Russians do something crazy, there's almost always a dash cam pointed in that direction.
Yeah, do their cars just come pre-installed with them?
They might.
It seems like it.
It's I've heard it's because of all the insurance fraud.
Oh, Jibwa Jesus said, I bet this old lady sounded like the grape stomping lady when she hit that car. I don't know, because the car alarm is so loud. I don't think she made a sound. But she hit. I mean... Treat yourself by watching this Russian grandmother smash into the lid on this motor vehicle. You got to see this video. It's absolutely beyond a miracle that she isn't as dead as Disco.
Oh, somebody said that maybe she was drunk. I mean, they are in Russia.
I was afraid to say that, but that was I thought that.
I mean, sure. But
I had a feeling that was probably it.
Yeah, that's like better for you, right? Because your body doesn't tense up or something.
Yeah, but I'm not just going to chalk this up to vodka. I mean, the impact that she made in that motor vehicle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How can you explain it? Sure, I'm guessing she was loose as a goose when she fell, but I don't know. It's a damn mystery.
No, Bass Slayer Jesus, that audio was not of you and my mom. I know where that came from. I played it. That was a grape stomping lady. That poor woman, by the way. Oh,
wonder what she's up to now.
She's miserable about the whole ordeal because all the crap
is she really?
got. Yeah.
Oh, that stinks.
93x.com if you want to see the Russian grandma. Now, here's a young fella in Australia who's got things all ass backwards, and doctors are trying to figure out just what the hell the problem is. He's a 22-year-old kid, and here's his deal. He's upped and caught some funny illness that causes his body to feel hot when it's cold, and he feels cold when he touches anything hot.
Seems very inconvenient.
That's what I call kitty wampus, or ass backwards. If he's near anything cold, specifically with his hands, it comes off as hot to this kid, and the opposite. You know what a band called Kix taught me, Josh, back in 1988?
What lesson?
They said, when it cools off, you're teasing, and when it gets hot, you're freezing. Cold blood is all you bleed. Do you remember that one?
I like that song.
Oh, man, that's a good one. Aidan McManus is the name of this 22-year-old Australian. Back when he was just a 17-year-old, he lost the feeling in his feet, and they swelled up on him. His feet did. He went to the hospital. Doctors gave him some medicines. Didn't do Dick Tracy. Things only got worse from there. Just walking around here and there, felt like he was stepping on thumbtacks. Christ, then the kid picked up a case of that irritable bowel syndrome. Nothing but laughs for this Aiden kid. 17 years old, he can't walk without pain, and he's spraying diarrhea at every turn.
That's young.
Okay? That's what?
That's young.
Young to have
That's
the
to have IBS.
Oh,
poor buddy.
I didn't know there was an age
I didn't
parameter on
Yeah,
irritable.
my mom claims that like once you get over the age of 50, everybody's got it.
Oh.
Well, I knew the first time I'd ever heard of it was a young person. I lived in a townhouse community, and I met one of my neighbors, and she said, hey, just so you know, I've got IBS. And the reason she had to tell me is because every once in a while, like mid-conversation, she'd have to run to a bathroom, the poor kid.
Oh,
so
that sucks.
She had to let people know, I'm not being rude. It's just I've got a condition where when I gotta go, I gotta go.
I thought I had it for a while, but in the end, it was just my terrible lifestyle. So 17-year-old kid, his feet are screwed up. He's got gut rot. He graduates high school, and then shortly after that, this weird hot-cold gimmick started happening. When he touched something cold with his hands, it felt like they were burning. When he touched something hot, it felt extremely cold. Neurologists have been trying to figure this kid out for years now. They've tested him up and down. They've cut him open a few times, but they still can't pin down what's troubling the poor bastard. A doctor eventually diagnosed Aiden with a nerve disorder which affects how nerve cells transmit signals throughout the body, if that means anything to you. There is no current treatment. That sounds like a hell of a deal right there.
Yeah.
Cubby, if you think you have thermostat battles, how do you say it? Thermostat? Is that how you say it?
Thermostat, yeah.
If you think you have those fights with your wife, imagine living with this dude.
Yeah, I mean, if I wish my wife or I had that, because then we'd finally agree on a temperature. Yeah, this particular guy, that's awful. He's got to be uncomfortable everywhere.
Yeah. I can withstand cold more than I can withstand heat as well. So, that was like putting your hand in like an ice box would feel like it's being burnt. That just sounds horrific.
Yeah, there was a line in here where his mother, has to be careful with every damn thing. She once handed him a cold can of Coca-Cola, and it burns his hand because the can is cold and everything's opposite to this kid. I guess the good news is it's just his hands. It's just...
I think I have it on my butt. Have you ever sat on a car seat that has ventilated seats?
No. Yes, I love it.
Oh, I didn't like it at all. So
ventilated seats.
Essentially like air-conditioned seats. I had a friend whose car had it, and it was, summer, and he turned it on, and I thought, this is going to be wonderful. But it felt like my butt was on fire. I had the complete opposite sensation.
Did he put the heater on?
No.
You get used to it after a while. It was funny. When I bought my vehicle that had air-conditioned seats, I took it for a test drive, and the salesperson driving with me was like, all right, I'm going to turn them on. And I was wearing a sundress at the time. And I immediately felt like I peed my pants. I was like, this is a really unfamiliar feeling. I don't know if I like this.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
I mean, I had heated seats in a motor vehicle years ago, and everyone who's had heated seats has had this experience where you don't realize that you've turned them on, and you drive for 10 minutes, and you think to yourself, do I have malaria?
Yeah.
Why are my testicles on fire?
But I guess back to this Australian kid. If his overall body temperature was running opposite like that, how bizarre would that be? When it's hot outside, he feels cold. When it's cold outside, he feels hot. But at least it's just his hands. It sounds miserable anyway. But I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to put some kind of silver lining on this issue, and no one knows how to help him. Security camera this, security camera that. That's all life consists of anymore is footage from one security camera followed by another. The latest here, by God, is some footage of derelicts breaking into cars in a neighborhood somewhere near Cleveland, Ohio. All right, during one of the break-ins, one of the derelicts spots a security camera and cuts loose with a dance for anyone who might be watching.
Not a bad dancer.
It's kind of cute.
I didn't get much of a laugh out of it personally, just because I'm tired of the derelicts.
Well, he's a douchebag. I practiced it a little bit.
The dance.
Oh, that's sharp.
All right.
I love it.
Did it kind of look like the guy?
I don't have
He's
any
more
memory.
smooth than I am.
I don't have any memory
better
of what.
than him.
Yeah, I don't remember the dance, Josh, but that's the most rhythmic you've ever appeared to be.
Well, that's because I practiced.
You did?
Yeah.
How much time did you practice on that last?
4 or 5 hours.
Oh my God.
Sure.
That's easily the best you've ever looked when attempting to dance. The folks in this here neighborhood are not amused. They're pretty burned out on this gimmick. They all have security cameras in plain view, but the derelicts don't care. It doesn't slow them down at all. And now you got this smart-ass dancing for the camera after he destroys your car. One lady whose car got mangled by this garbage human being, they busted out her windows and the whole work. She said they probably want to be on the news. It's like a badge of honor for them. That made me aggravated to see him dance, and it shows they have no fear of getting caught.
Well, it's kind of like porch pirates now. A lot of them don't care. Just pull a hood up or something like that, and they're just not intimidated by cameras anymore.
It's so casual. It's unbelievable.
The folks in Cleveland, what I mean by that is a spokesperson with Cleveland City Hall said something or another. He or she said these crimes are infuriating. The arrogance is appalling and must be met with the heavy hand of the law.
True.
When you play dumb games like this, you win comparable prizes. In this instance, a date with a judge to face the consequences. I hope that's how the story ends. It sucks. One of the gals that had her car broken into by the dancing ass bag, she said, "What can we do? If we come out the house during the break-in and say, 'Get the hell away from my car,' you get shot. So, what the F?" It's pretty terrible. I'd personally, Josh, rather have Dirty Mike and the boys just hold an orgy in my car.
Well, they're willing.
Than have a dancing moron kick out the windows just to see if I've got $5 in loose change in the friggin' ashtray.
What did you used to do, Josh, when you were growing up? Didn't you guys put a sign in your car because it got broken into so many times?
Well, my uncle did. We would just leave our cars unlocked eventually because they were broken into so many times. Fixing the window was a pain and expensive. So one time my uncle put a very vulgar sign on his window alerting them that, hey, it's unlocked. There's nothing in here. Don't break my effing window.
Sounds a good way to get all your windows broken.
You know what? Back then, there was honor amongst thieves.
I mean, ice fisher women know this. What's the best way to have your fish house broken into? I mean, I know these days you don't see a lot of permanent houses anymore. Everyone has the fancy schmancy some bitch on wheels or the fancy schmancy portables. But back when permanent houses were a thing, what's the best way to get your place broken into? Put a lock on the damn thing. The one time we put a lock on our fish house, door torn clean off, because with a lock on there, they assume you keep all your gear in there. We never lock the fish house because that's what the puke bags are looking for. All right, this here is creepy, different, dark, also pretty interesting, I guess. The government of the United Kingdom, I'm not sure that's the correct way to say all that. The folks in charge over there in the silly United Kingdom, they're in the process of developing what they call here a murder prediction program. Now, what that will do, it uses personal data of people known to the authorities to identify the people who are most likely to become killers.
It's like Minority Report. Tom Cruise, you guys ever see that one?
Never saw it.
No.
Yeah, I saw that one.
What was the similarity?
Same exact thing, where they'd pick up, there was like some oracles that would say, oh my gosh, this person's going to murder someone, and they would they'd show a video of this future murder, right? The cops would look at it and go, well, that guy's going to be guilty in the future, so they arrest him.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of a goofy movie, but entertaining.
This is all very complicated, to me at least. It says here, researchers are using algorithms to analyze the information of thousands of people, including victims of crime. They're trying to identify those at greatest risk of committing serious violent offenses in the future. F me. Those involved say they're trying to help public safety. Other folks are calling it friggin' creepy. Some of what these crackpots are looking into, folks who are on record who have harmed themselves, folks who are on record for domestic abuse. They say only people with at least one criminal conviction will be looked at and studied. It's just a wacky new age effing setup they got going over there.
I wonder what degree of conviction.
I don't know.
If you've harmed yourself, though, that surprises me.
Hey,
if you're willing to hurt yourself, you're probably willing to murder people.
Maybe that's their theory. I have no idea. This is completely beyond my abilities. They're taking a closer look at folks who have had mental health problems, drug addicts, and such. And like I said, not everybody's pumped about this. They say it's invasive and racist and this and that.
Feels like it's a violation somehow. I don't know much about how all of that works, but it doesn't seem like it should be allowed.
It seems a little weird.
They're trying to get ahead of things, trying to predict who might end up a naked, murderous neighborhood nutcase someday.
I mean, we've had our thoughts, people here, that most likely would
without
end
a
up
doubt.
in a headline somewhere.
Is there anyone that you personally know right now where every once in a while you look at them and you say to yourself, yeah, I can see that peckerhead running around town in the nude on a killing spree with a boner, swinging an axe over their head, screaming something about Jesus?
Yes.
Well, yeah, like I just mentioned, definitely there's been people in this building where...
But like right now,
Oh, yeah.
in your daily life
It's the
right
same
now.
people. Yeah.
Oh, the people who are still here.
No, I'm saying the same people that I still have contact with.
Oh.
It's the same ones.
Okay, okay. People who used to work here, you still have contact with them. Okay.
Where I predict that is likely. Can't guarantee it, but it's likely.
It's likely.
Likely.
Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I know one or two where every once in a while I'll see a look in their eye. And of course I know them. I know they have a little bit of a wild side. I know they have a little bit of a unsympathetic side towards society in general, towards animals sometimes. Unsympathetic is all I said. Unsympathetic before you get all wanting to call 911. And sometimes I see a look in their eye and I think, yeah, I can see them going on a killing spree.
Sounds right.
Sometimes don't they say that that's kind of a sign when you're not exactly the most sympathetic person with animals?
Yeah, if you have no empathy, if you're... Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, no emotions.
D&D Jesus on the topic of people breaking into your car said he puts a sign in his car telling people there's nothing inside to steal. And one time someone proved him wrong by taking his air freshener.
Oh.
Dude, that's bogus.
Come on.
Yes, you do.
All right, before we go.
Yeah, the precogs from Minority Report, Medical Device Jesus. They were weird and unhappy ladies. If I remember, like in a pool or something like that. It was pretty disturbing. And somebody else says of Tom Cruise, nothing Tom Cruise is entertaining.
What?
That's not true.
That's not.
Haven't you seen Tropic Thunder?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna watch that again. I love that movie.
That's one of the better cameos in a long time.
Yeah, me and a buddy were just talking about Tom Cruise, probably because he saw him up in Brainerd. You know how he's always in Brainerd?
Sure, he's got some property up there.
Yeah, he's always up there. Me and a friend were just talking about Tom Cruise movies the other day, and we agreed we're not exactly crazy about him, but we would watch a movie if his character from Tropic Thunder was the lead character.
Yes.
And come on, I mean, Valkyrie, I love Valkyrie. I can watch it every day.
Yep.
Every day. All right, before we go, this is cute.
And you liked War of the Worlds.
Yeah, except one of the worst endings in movie history.
Gosh, that was a good movie.
I did like War of the Worlds. Ending sucked eggs. An army of mosquitoes took over an airplane. And during the ride, the mosquitoes pert near chewed everybody right down to the bone. This was I think I'm saying this right, an Indigo airplane ride going to Delhi, India. It was infested for the entire 90-minute flight. Folks were slapping themselves sideways. Mosquitoes were everywhere, biting folks high and low. One passenger said the whole flight, I spent it scratching, swatting, and praying for the flight to be over. The cabin crew didn't know what to make of it. All they could do was suck it up like everyone else. Apparently, someone left the door open on the airplane between flights, and the mosquito gang entered the plane that away and just swallowed everybody up.
I don't like it.
I'll say it again. They don't come anywhere near me. I don't know why.
They love me.
This isn't a thing that's... I can't brag about this being a lifetime thing. Just in the last few years, they don't come near me.
Weird. Maybe it's the Axe body spray. Has that been new, or have you always used that?
I put some on this morning. Could you smell it this morning when I walked in?
I love that smell.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yes.
It's nice. I don't know. They don't like me. I'm a lucky guy, I guess. All right, we got to take a break. Sports is coming up next.
I want to be wined and dined at 69.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
What you want, shot-wise, what's been the process figuring that?
I think good about
Everybody picks on Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, even his own teammates are going after him.
Even his friggin' teammates.
That was awesome.
That's a great video. Is that up on our website?
I'm not sure. I might have posted it.
Why don't you check on that and get back to me, because I think it's funny. Everyone picks on Rudy Gobert, even his teammates. There he was. Practice, shoot around, whatever they call it. No one's at the arena yet, just the Timberwolves practicing on the Golden State Warriors court yesterday afternoon. Gobert standing, being interviewed by some members of the media. In the middle of his interview, you can hear that booming voice over the PA. Apparently, what's the big Australian's name again?
That's who did that?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen who did it yet.
Come on, the big Australian guy. Banger,
Yeah.
Wanger, Langer. Come on, Timberwolves fans. What's the big Australian guy's name again? It slipped my mind. Joe Ingles. Thank you, everyone. Joe Ingles got on the mic, according to... He found the PA mic and did the Rudy bit. That's great. He is a big, goofy dude, though. How could you not pick on Rudy Gobert?
Yeah, he is, absolutely.
It's an easy target for
he's
sure.
He's big and goofy and clumsy, and I love to watch him fall. I do. He falls once a game, and it's just a comedy show. Everything about the guy's a comedy show.
There's a couple moments every game where he looks like an alien who is transported into a human's body that's never heard of basketball or done anything athletic in their life.
You do look at him sometimes and think, he's a professional athlete.
Right. Like a fourth grader in gym class sometimes. But he can also make it look so good at times.
Like a fourth grader who just had a growth spurt and isn't quite used to his body.
Yes, that's a perfect way to describe it.
Another just bizarre game last night. It really is. This series has been so weird. Sloppy, but the Timberwolves got the win. 117-110. And now they're coming home for Game 5 tomorrow night, up 3-1 in the best-of-7 series against the Warriors. Just for a brief quarter, they were terrific. Third quarter made all the difference in last night's ball game. Twins-Orioles tonight, 5:30. Twins playing on the road. We'll talk to Glen Perkins about that in about a half hour. Don't go nowheres, because Josh's news report is coming up next.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Searching for an inside look at the people, stories, and passion that fuel the state of soccer in America? The United States Soccer Federation will be launching the all-new U.S. Soccer Podcast. Episodes will go beyond the field with players, coaches, and legends to bring you honest conversations and untold stories. This is where soccer will come to life. The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platforms.
KXXR, the home of the half-assed morning show. This is 93X.
You can see the mess that she left. So I was really disgusted. It was a horrible experience, and my husband unfortunately had to pick it up on Mother's Day.
A few Los Angeles families woke up to more than just brunch plans and bouquets of flowers this Mother's Day. They got a gross gift they definitely didn't order.
Is this more...
order.
Female feces?
It is, yes.
God dang it.
Some grossed-out homeowners submitted videos showing an Amazon delivery driver pulling down her shorts and leaving more than just packages, reportedly pooping on porches at least 2 times.
That was disgusting, like very disgusting.
Because this is something you guys would never do, right?
No. She probably had Taco Bell before.
Solid. In one video, a woman is shown climbing up the stairs of the homeowner's front porch to deliver a package on Sunday. But when the driver walked away from the porch, she looked to be pulling up her pants. And on the nearby porch sat a special delivery, Dookie. The lady left behind what looks like feces, human lady feces. The ground in front of the fecal matter looked wet from an unknown substance as well, which probably was pee, said police.
When I woke up, my husband said he was going to bring me some coffee and a pastry. He went downstairs and was greeted by not only one package, but a second inappropriate, disgusting package, which was essentially like human feces and looked to be urination. I kind of like clutched my pearls a little bit because I'm like, really? A second time? It was kind of like, wow, still not done.
Another video showed a planter outside the property where a dirty paper towel was littered on the ground, suggesting she wiped after plopping out the pungent parcel. After seeing coverage of the first video, more homeowners submitted footage showing what looks like the same woman entering through their gate and delivering a package before dropping her shorts and delivering some potty. The woman's face is clearly visible. She even appears to make eye contact at one point with one of the family's cameras. When asked for a statement, Amazon said they were deeply disturbed by the, quote, unacceptable behavior, and they apologized to the customers involved.
I'm done with this.
It's happening so often lately.
I'm just done with it. So, clear me up now. So, where did this lady put her waste?
Right next to a porch in one case.
Did she attempt to hide it?
No.
She did not attempt.
Doesn't appear that way. No, she didn't put any newspaper over it. Hey, I know they're working their tails off.
Oh, they got to go all day.
I think she could find someplace a little more private.
I don't give a rat's ass what you do for a living. That's not right.
In related news, a recent poll revealed 45% of men never pee in their backyard.
45% of men never pee in their backyard.
What's the point of having a backyard then?
They never do it.
You ever done it, Josh?
Oh, yeah, when I was a kid.
You're very proper.
Oh, now as an adult, no. I would in an emergency of some sort. But my mom used to get so mad at us when we'd pee out by the garage.
Well, sometimes you had to, didn't you? Because you only had one bathroom.
Yeah, and 8 or 9 people living there.
Right.
But plus, we didn't want to go inside. We're outside playing, and our garages they're in an alley, and there's a space between our garage and the neighbor's garage, and it was perfect for peeing.
The difference there was our mother would never get upset when we would be young kids complaining that we can never get into the bathroom. She'd say, go outside.
My mom would be furious.
My parents used to say the same thing, and they would say the same thing to me. So,
what do you mean?
Which same thing? My same thing or his same thing?
Yeah, you got to be more clear on that.
Yeah, they would be like, whether it was me or my brother, if we had to go to the bathroom, I'll just go outside. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know, Josh. I'm just disappointed in this string of female deuce attacks. I'm disappointed. I'm disheartened. It's taken a piece of me.
The only time I've ever seen that, it was a female, but a very young one. I was at a friend's backyard barbecue, and his daughter, I'm going to guess she was maybe 3, had said, hey, I want to show you something. And she brought me over to their little swing set and pointed at some feces and said, that's my poop.
Mm-hmm.
She was very proud of what she had provided.
Was it impressive?
I didn't really look that long.
Yeah, how did you respond? All right.
I just told one of the parents, I don't know if you want to leave that there or not, but your kid just fertilized some sand.
You should have looked into her eye and said, you're disgusting.
What's wrong with you?
Made her cry.
You are a bad, bad person. A 28-year-old ex-college sorority girl and cheerleader is facing assault charges after hitting a cop with her car and driving into a crowded street fair because she had to get to work.
Stop your car. Stop. Stop.
Excuse me, y'all.
Excuse me.
An annual festival in Laurel, Maryland, which draws thousands every year, was already reeling from a morning propane explosion, which sent one person to the hospital.
God dang.
But things went from bad to bizarre when Kai DeBerry Bostic decided traffic rules and basic human decency didn't apply to her.
Just out of curiosity, can you clear that name up? Which is the first name and which is the last name?
Kai.
Yeah. And the last name is DeBerry Bostic?
Hyphenated, yeah.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Around 11 a.m., DeBerry Bostic, a former Zeta Delta sorority sister, rolled up to a barricaded section of Main Street and demanded to be let through. But there was a street fair going on. Police body cam footage captured the bratty encounter as she argued with an officer blocking the entrance. I need to get out, she tells him. I gotta go. The officer calmly offers to call her a cab, telling her she can't move the barricade. I have to, sir, she fired back, her voice rising. I got to go to work. What do you want me to do? The dummy demanded. Then she yanked down the police tape and headed into the heart of the festival, where families were strolling, booths were set up, and the street was packed, her car coming within inches of a man pushing a stroller.
I apologize for the inconvenience. I'd be happy to call you a taxi. Fortunately,
I don't have to come back. I just need to get out. I gotta go.
I'm telling you right now.
Oh, I gotta go to work. What do you want me to do? Like, I have to go to work.
You cannot get out. Stop your car. Stop.
Excuse me, y'all.
Ted, there's a lady running down the street now in a BMW. Stop. Get out of the car.
At one point, police pulled her from the vehicle and handcuffed her. The officer did sustain some minor injuries. Thankfully, no one else was hurt. It was some firefighters who stood in front of her to get the car to stop.
Let me ask you something, Josh. Does she work for national security, or is she a Navy SEAL on a mission or anything like that?
Nothing. I don't know what she does. But whatever it was very important. And her showing up to work meant our country depended on it.
Right.
DeBarry Bostic's temper tantrum occurred just hours after a propane tank exploded during vendor setup, promoting the cancellation of the festival's opening parade.
Man, no burritos from that stand, I would imagine.
The mayor said the blast appeared to be the result of negligence on the vendor's part, not foul play. You know, I mean, there's these terrible stories about people driving through crowds. An explosion at the same event. People were a little on edge already. And
what is she thinking? Now you're definitely not going to make it to work.
She did appear very entitled. Maybe she just had an off day, but she's not getting a lot of sympathy.
No, she shouldn't.
A 29-year-old shot another motorist in the foot because he was taking too long parking in a tight spot outside a Miami Airbnb. Deciding the best way to speed up a person's parallel parking was with a pistol. The 29-year-old was sitting in his Porsche as the driver of a pickup truck struggled to back into a spot outside an Airbnb in a trendy Wynwood section of Miami. Rather than wait like a normal person, the impatient prick in the Porsche began laying on the horn of his luxury vehicle. He told the victim he was taking too long, at which point he pulled a gun and attempted to punctuate his point with bullets. He aimed at the pickup truck's driver's torso, and fired, but luckily the gun malfunctioned twice.
Honest to God, he was going to kill this guy.
Because he was taking too long. He had a Porsche. He had to park. Thinking the worst was over, the pickup driver turned and walked toward his Airbnb. Then he heard a shot. The pecker in the Porsche had shot him in the foot. The victim took himself to the hospital and later identified the shooter in a police lineup. The suspect was arrested last week and is now behind bars facing an attempted murder charge with no bond.
And that's how he wants to operate, this guy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to go to jail for attempted murder because a dude took too long parking his motor vehicle. That's you?
That's the guy.
Good for you.
That's the guy.
Good for you. We're happy that that's you because now we can get rid of you.
A 35-year-old Florida man nearly gave a tragic new meaning to the phrase self-checkout after accidentally venting his own leg with his personal firearm inside a Walmart.
It sucks.
After hearing the impromptu shot Saturday, shoppers ducked for cover as deputies swarmed the area. When we pulled up, there were so many lights, so many cars, one customer said. And then when we went inside, the whole produce section was just closed off. And they told me to get out, so they're obviously expanding their search or whatever, the shopper said. Another customer said she was inside the store when she heard the shot. The guy dropped the gun, and then boom, she recalled. She said she ducked immediately after that shot rang out. Paramedics arrived and took the man to a nearby hospital where officials said he's embarrassed, but going to be just fine. It's not the weirdest thing to happen in a Walmart, one shopper joked. Thankfully, no other injuries were reported, and patrons were grateful because obviously that outcome could have been much worse.
You always got to stay strapped when you go to Walmart, I guess. What the heck?
Denver police have finally nabbed the man accused of robbing the same gas station 7 times. Officers say 32-year-old Darius Williams kept targeting a Circle K in town, hitting it over and over and over since last October. Sometimes he was armed with a knife, but every time he demanded cash. The pattern became so predictable, detectives devised a plan.
It became so frequent and patterned that police planted a tracker in cash to find him.
At first it worked, but Williams got lucky and ditched it before cops could close in. But that luck changed when a patrol officer happened to spot yet another robbery in progress, and this time caught him in the act.
This guy's hooked on it.
Yeah, in the same one.
Same place, too.
He didn't move around at all.
I'd be so exhausted if I worked there.
You again?
Yeah, you know what's going to happen as soon as he gets there, right? What a douchebag. The names of 3 fallen Minnesota police officers are now etched into the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., a solemn tribute to lives lost in the line of duty. This week, their sacrifice will be honored in ceremonies both in the nation's capital and here at home. Burnsville officers Paul Elmstrand, Matt Ruge, both just 27 years old, shot and killed during a tense standoff in February last year. Burnsville firefighter and paramedic Adam Finseth, also 40 years old, also died trying to save others that day. Just months later, 36-year-old Minneapolis officer Jamal Mitchell was gunned down in May while responding to a call for help. To honor them, more than 160 Burnsville police officers and family members made the journey to D.C. with the backing of local residents, donors from across the country, and support from the Burnsville Police and Fire Foundations and the Fraternal Order of Police. Nearby departments are stepping in to cover shifts so Burnsville officers can attend. Tonight at 7 p.m., a candlelight vigil will be held at the National Memorial in Washington. In Minnesota, remembrances continue. The St. Paul Police Department will hold its annual Memorial Day service tomorrow at noon at the Minnesota Peace Officers Memorial on the Capitol grounds. And on Thursday evening at 7, the Minnesota Law Enforcement Memorial Association will host its annual service as well. If you're looking to get a Big Mac or some salty fries from a McDonald's in Fairfax County, Virginia, you better bring your ID, as the McDonald's location there is only allowing customers over 21 years old inside.
Oh, do they sell weed or something?
No, no, it's from bad behavior.
Yeah, I'm guessing they've had some real friggin' problems at this joint.
Ashley assumed that you're selling McWeed.
Yeah, I don't know.
The new policy comes after repeated fights involving teenagers from a nearby school. Students were fighting, cursing, and standing on restaurant tables.
They were cursing?
They were.
Oh, God.
So a bold move to protect burgers, bystanders, and beleaguered employees, the franchise decided to post a sign declaring the dining area adults only.
That's hilarious.
Kids aren't being disciplined. There's no accountability. It's ridiculous. It's sad that the business has to go and do this.
The decision was made to protect our staff and guests and our community, the sign at the fast food chain's front door read. One customer said she's okay with the rule, as she's experienced a group of young people disturbing other customers dining inside. She said the students had no respect, no discipline, claiming they were, quote, off the chain.
What I can tell you is they also clarified that those younger than 21, they can still order on the mobile app and pick up ringing the doorbell. But those families with children can enter as long as they're with adults.
As that strange lady just said, mobile orders are still fair game for all ages, however. The restaurant said all their customers, even those under 21, are still welcome to place orders via the mobile app.
Do you guys get excited when you go to an event and it's 21 plus? I do.
Are you kidding me?
That's just such a beautiful feeling.
You know me, Ashley. I've been calling for that for years. I want all professional and college sporting events to be 21 and up. I'm tired of walking over all the kids at a ball game. Get them out of here until they turn 21. Now, let me ask you something, Josh. At the 21 and up McDonald's, did they remove the ball pit?
No, because kids can come in with an adult.
Oh.
So there's still going to be kids there.
Oh. I just wanted to see, if the grown folks would take to the ball pit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A bunch of 35-year-olds rolling around in the ball pit since the kids can't be in there anymore. But you say...
I'm trying to remember the last time I was in one of those. Do a lot of them have the...
They've kind of gotten away from those.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Now available on demand based on the video game of the same name, a Minecraft movie starring Jason Momoa and Jack Black. And on Paramount Plus, the streaming premiere of Novocaine. Jack Quaid plays a guy who feels no pain and goes after bank robbers after they take his girlfriend hostage.
By the way, Ashley, you better get over this hatred for children.
No, I don't.
You got a few months
hate
left.
Children. I'm just not a huge fan of teenagers.
Well, your kid's going to be a teenager someday.
Yeah, hopefully I'll like them by then.
I would have blamed the McDonald's in Apple Valley if they banned teenagers back in 2003.
Got a little wild?
Yeah, it got a little wild.
Ambassador to North Korea, Dennis Rodman, 64. Stevie Wonder, 75. Harvey Keitel, 86.
Harvey Keitel is 86.
He is. Captain of the Wiggle Wagons, Jesus. Congratulations to you. 13 years sober today. Longtime part-time listener Jesus is about to go on the most epic absolute F-off week of his career. 5+ weeks vacation.
Dude.
He's going to Italy, Switzerland, France, England, and Scotland. Have a great, safe trip. Happy birthday to Fireplace Jesus, and that's 93X News.
And now a Minnesota Twins update. We're talking Twins with former All-Star closer Glen Perkins.
Glen Perkins.
On 93X.
There's nothing quite like a sunny day at Target Field.
This is the feel-good weather.
Lopez strikes out 11. This is a tape measure shot. Second deck and then some.
You get hot and the team gets hot. The weather gets hot.
And the Twins have won 8 straight ball games.
Oh, we got plenty to cover today. We better get after it. Josh, put that cigarette out.
I'm trying to start.
Unbelievable. We should begin with saying hello to our friend, a world-class entertainer, universally loved, C. Willi Myles. Good morning, C. Willi.
Good morning, my peoples.
Welcome back.
He swings in here on his way to go golfing.
Yep, he's on his way.
He stops by for a little jaw jacking before he goes golfing.
Should be a nice day for
That's
that.
my warm-up.
And as you heard in the fancy schmancy little sounder there, every Tuesday, Glen Perkins checks in with us to talk Twins baseball, and we appreciate it very much. Brought to you by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity. Hello, Glenn.
Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing today?
We're doing all right. See Willi Myles stop by, then he's going to go golfing. You got anything going on today?
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to be broadcasting a Twins game.
Tonight?
Yes. Out
Nice.
in Baltimore.
Okay.
But the weather's not cooperating.
Oh.
So I'm not too confident that there's going to be Twins baseball tonight.
Okay. Well, that kind of sucks, but at the same time, then you guys just kind of get into the beer and lay around the hotel all day, right?
It's a hangout day. It's going to be a long time for these guys because they left on Sunday, had an off day yesterday here, and so another day of sitting around. I don't think it'll cool them down, though. They're playing good baseball right now, so... It's rainouts on the road like this. I'm being very assumptive, but rainy days on the road are not great.
They're not great?
No.
Are there certain cities you'd prefer to have a washout in than others?
Certainly. Baltimore's on the bottom part of the list.
Oh, is that right?
That rainouts are like a Chicago and New York, Toronto.
So,
those would be okay.
So then, I mean, you just putting on a movie? What do you got planned now? Because you're saying it doesn't look good, doesn't look like they're going to play ball. What are you going to do to kill the time?
The one thing about Baltimore is that it's got great food. There's an area right by the team hotel called Little Italy, and we went and had some. I flew in last night with Provis and Atterbury, and then we went to an Italian restaurant last night that was really good. So we had a good dinner. So that's kind of what it's all about. Like road trips in the big leagues are finding good places to eat.
What about seafood? What about they got all the great seafood out there?
Yeah.
He doesn't like seafood.
No, I do. I do.
You do.
There's a market here that has unbelievable crab cakes.
Yum.
Yep.
That's one of two things that Maryland does, along with football.
Wedding Crashers reference for those that didn't catch it.
Wow. I did not understand the reference, but I dig that you made a Wedding Crashers reference on this program.
Crab cakes and football. But no, there's a really good crab cakes, but it's more of like a lunch spot than a dinner spot. So if we do end up getting rained out or delayed or pushed back and we don't have to go to the field on time, I will probably grab an umbrella and walk over to the market and get some crab cakes.
But you still have to prep your ass off, right?
Yeah.
That's the disappointing part. You're going to prep your ass off anyway, probably today, in preparation for the game, just in case it does happen, and then it doesn't, and you say, well, why the hell did I do all this work in the first place?
Well, then the game will get played tomorrow.
Oh, well, okay.
And
I suppose
then that's less. It's less for me to do tomorrow.
All right, fair enough. A friend of mine was a cop out in Maryland for a while, and he's not a seafood guy, and it got to the point where just smelling it, like when he would roll the window down in his patrol car, just smelling it made him want to vomit. Personally, I love seafood.
I don't consider Baltimore like a seafood town as much as some other coastal cities.
Okay.
It strikes me more as like it's like everywhere has crab cakes.
All right. Well, I mean, that's too bad that we might not be able to see baseball tonight because the club is playing so well. Winners of 8 in a row. This Baltimore series is a 3-gamer. Starting pitchers supposedly tonight: Simeon Woods Richardson for the Twins, and for the Orioles again with that Povich kid.
Yep.
And when you look at that Povich kid, it's obvious that he's the son of Maury Povich. He's a spitting image of the man. Saw him at Target Field.
I just reminded that we talked about this. We talked about this 1 week ago.
Yeah. So tell us your thoughts on this win streak now, 8 in a row.
They've continued to pitch well. I think that's first and foremost. They found a way to win a couple games. I think they had started out something like 0-17 when they didn't score 4 runs or more. They won 2 games on this homestand, scoring less than 4, which you want to score more than 4. That's always a good thing. But they've pitched the ball so well, and I think they're finding ways to score enough runs. And I kind of talked about this throughout the season already so far, right? Like, some of these things are going to even out. And I don't necessarily know if they, like, maybe the hitting, they've gotten more timely hits, hit better with runners in scoring position, those kind of things. But they're playing better baseball. Some of the elements of the game that can sway one direction or another are swinging in their direction right now. But it was a matter of time, because it felt like for the first couple weeks, every hard hit ball was at somebody, and the big hit that they needed wasn't there, and that hasn't been the case now. And throughout this entire thing, I think after the first time through the rotation, they've been one of, if not the best, starting staff in baseball. Mm-hmm. And it's not entirely surprising. They have some really good pitchers, and I think they've gotten what they've expected from Pablo and from Joe Ryan and from Bailey Ober. But Sim has been good, and then Chris Paddock has taken his game to another level as well. He's been really, really good the last 4 or 5 turns through the rotation, and he was great back at Target Field last homestand.
What the hell got Joe Ryan so sick there for a while?
There's something going around, because I know a couple other guys missed games here and there. Harrison Bader was sick. I don't know.
What did you have spread through the locker room when you were a player? What?
It usually happens when guys eat crab cakes in Maryland.
There's trouble.
That's where most guys get sick.
What did they
have? I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna.
Someone said it was a 2-week-long stomach problem of some. Randy Shaver, you ever had the Green Apple Quick Steps for 2 whole weeks?
Not for 2 weeks, no. But long enough to suffer.
What was it that went through the Wild locker room a few years ago? The mumps?
Yeah,
the mumps. Yeah.
Holy crap. You ever have the mumps?
I don't think Joe had mumps.
No. I'm kind of more generalizing now and just talking about different things that can spread through a major league or a professional club's locker room. What did you guys all catch back in the day at Glen?
Hangover.
Yeah.
Okay. The truth comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sometimes see on getaway day on like a Sunday afternoon game who went out last night, which is the way they're kind of moving around the outfield and stuff like that.
Hey, Sundays in Chicago were always rough.
You couldn't help it.
We'll just leave it at that.
You couldn't help it. On Saturday nights, you guys had to get after it a little bit, right?
Hey, if you played an early game especially, it's a fun town. Things happen. One thing leads to another, and then before you know it, you're getting ready for a game the next day. And wish you could take a nap.
Been to bed.
You haven't,
just sweating it out.
Slept a half hour. You woke up in the suburbs somewhere. You know. How in the hell did I get to Shermer High School in Shermer, Illinois? Scene of what movie, Josh? The Breakfast Club. See, I can quote movies too, Glenn.
Just from a lot longer ago.
See, that's before my time.
I go back to 85 with that one. 85. Glenn, of course, was a terrific pitcher for the Twins for many years. Did you catch this? We talked about it yesterday, and I wanted to make sure I got your thoughts on it. There was a kid in the minor leagues pitching for the New York Mets organization, the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, I think was his ball club, who had a perfect game going through 7 innings. It was a doubleheader. Kid had a perfect game, 1 out to go. But he was at 99 pitches, and he was under orders not to hit 100. They yanked him out of a perfect game.
Mm. Oh, no.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I know that, like, there's always been pitch counts. There's always been limits, especially on minor league guys. But as I was coming up, if you were doing something unique or special, they were going to let you go. And not that matters, not that you'll ever remember it, or it's not going to get recorded in history, but it's still a pretty unique, special thing. And you'd like to see a guy get an opportunity to finish that out. I'm bummed out for that kid. I'm more bummed out that he has to play for a team called the Rumble Riders?
The Rumble Ponies.
Binghamton.
That was the Binghamton Mets. They were Double-A. They were the Mets Double-A team when I was in the minor leagues.
Okay, now they're the Rumble Ponies. You know how the minor league clubs have these gimmicky names so they can draw a few people into the ballpark. So the Rumble Ponies, yeah, that's the club he plays for.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Some of the best mascots and best hats logos are minor league teams.
Oh, yeah.
And also some of the worst.
Yeah. Some of those clubs just nail it, but others, they miss the mark and they try too hard and just becomes kind of comical. Okay, the Chicago White Sox lost 121 games last season. Will the Colorado, how do you say it, Josh?
Colorado?
Will the Colorado Rockies top that this season, Glen Perkins?
They're on pace, right?
Yeah.
They are on pace. I guess they're doing worse, I think, than the White Sox were.
Oh, they're doing worse. Yeah.
They're one game worse than the White Sox were a year ago, I think. Is that? They're worse than that.
They're worse than that. They're 7-34 right now. So.
Jeez. Right. I guess I got off track. They're one game worse or better than the all-time record, which was the '88 Orioles. How they compare to the White Sox this time last year?
The way they started, I think, because the Orioles that year started poorly, right?
They started the Orioles in '88 started 6-34, and I think the Rockies now are 7-33 or so. So they're right there on pace.
Yeah, I'm looking at standings. They're 7-34.
7-34.
I mean, yeah, I don't like. It's like the White Sox last year. The Rockies are in a position where they don't have any talent in the big leagues, on the major league club, clearly.
Yeah.
And then they also don't have guys. It's not like they're waiting for guys to come up that are going to do something.
Okay.
They kind of have what they have, and they're bad. I mean, that's going to be a long summer. I think. I saw that they fired Bud Black, the manager, and then Mike Redmond, their bench coach, and. I'm sure Red was disappointed that he doesn't get to coach in the big leagues anymore, but I don't think he's probably entirely disappointed that he doesn't have to be a part of that.
I got some buddies who live in Denver, and one of them said, I love the season. It's going to be cheap tickets, and we're chasing history, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's just that something like that is not fun to be around. And I don't think they even had any expectations going into the season, but I think whatever expectations they had, they're even below those. It's a long summer. That's a long summer for the players.
Oh,
yeah. I've played a lot of sports in my life, and I've never played on a team that bad.
Never once?
I don't think I've ever. No, I know I haven't.
I mean, I played on a couple teams that lost like 96, 99. I think maybe we lost 100 one year. These guys are so much worse than that. I remember games late August where we were thinking like Jared Weaver or Justin Verlander is on the mound, and we're like, we might get, unless Joe gets a hit, we're going to get no hit today.
Wow.
Those guys were pitching so well. Our lineup was so weak, and it was like some way, somehow, Joe needs to find a way to get a hit.
That's funny. Where you hope Mauer wasn't part of that drinking crowd on Saturday night.
He wasn't. No.
If Joe doesn't get a hit, we're going to get no hit today.
All right.
Well,
Positive attitude going into the game.
There was like 3 or 4 times in a couple-year stretch that he broke up no-hitters like after the 7th inning.
Yeah.
And you just knew that Joe was going to get the guy the third time he got to hit against him. Nobody else was going to, but Joe would get him. And so that was kind of what we were hanging on. But
I get it, yeah.
This Rockies team is so much worse than we ever were.
So how do you as an organization, A, try to sell what you've got, but B, how do you get out of that? I mean, if you don't have a farm system that's going to help you in the near future, how in the hell do you get out of it?
You model it after the '88 Cleveland Indians from the movie Major League.
There you go.
Exactly.
You get a cavalcade of outcasts with a manager who was selling tires a week prior. I don't know. Randy Shaver, hell, who knows?
It's a slow crawl, and I think the White Sox, they had a couple of guys that they were able to trade away. They traded away Dylan Cease, they traded away Garrett Crochet, and they've gotten some okay players back. So it's not like I'm looking at it right now, the White Sox are 12-29, so it's not like they're doing great, but they're doing better than they were last year. But, like, when you draft and develop, that takes time. Those guys take 2, 3, 4 years to establish themselves in the big leagues, so it's going to be a while for the White Sox. The Rockies have never been able to figure it out. They've popped up, like, twice in 3 times in their entire existence and had good seasons. They've never been able to pitch. They're in a much more difficult situation in 2 ways. One is they're in a lot tougher division with the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, the Diamondbacks from the World Series a couple years ago.
Sucks, yeah.
Huge payrolls, huge markets, and so they're always going to be the 4th or 5th best team in that division. But then they also that park with the elevation, they've never been able to pitch, and I've been playing there and seeing how different the ball moves coming out of your hand. Mm-hmm. Guys don't want to be there. Guys don't want to play there. Guys don't want to pitch there, and then it's difficult, and so it's hard to have success as a pitcher in Colorado.
Listeners suggest they get on the telephone and call Troy Tulowitzki, one of their all-time great hitters. I'm guessing he's pretty.
Guys love to hit there, obviously.
Yeah,
great park to hit in.
Speaking of great hitters, Evan Longoria has decided to retire. Now, he didn't play last year, and he kind of kept his decision hush-hush, but now he's decided to retire. He was a great player for the Tampa Bay Rays for many years, and San Francisco, too. I'm forgetting someone, and maybe Arizona. Was he a tough guy to get out, Evan Longoria?
He was really good. He came up, I think he spent 2 weeks in the minor leagues and came up and was immediately one of the better hitters in the league. Really good fielder. He had a great career. He had an awesome career. And you brought up Tulowitzki. Them two were college teammates.
Oh, yeah?
Our Minnesota Gophers ended up out in a regional against those guys. It must have been my sophomore year. And they had Jared Weaver was on that team. They had 2 other pitchers that made it to the big leagues. They had stars all over the place.
What school was that?
Long Beach State.
Oh, damn. Oh, that's.
Now we were talking about nicknames and team names and that. I don't know what their school. So they have a basketball team, whatever. They're a certain mascot. The baseball team was the Dirtbags.
Is that right?
Yes, they were different than the whatever they call them, the Cowboys. They were the Long Beach State Cowboys, and then the baseball team was the Dirtbags.
I remember that because that hat was very popular. It's a dirtbag across it. You could get it at the college shop at Mall of America.
That's brilliant. Who was it who were the Banana Slugs? Was that Santa Monica?
That's Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz. University of California, Santa Cruz is the Banana Slugs.
Yes. My daughter toured that school.
Oh, yeah?
And I like that.
Sure.
She didn't like it, which is all that matters. But
she didn't want to be a slug?
I thought Banana Slugs was cool.
That's wonderful. Glenn, a rainy day in Baltimore. I don't know. I mean, hopefully you get what you want. Maybe you want a day off. We'll hope for that. Maybe you don't, and we'll hope that we get a ball game tonight.
Well, either way, they're going to play 3. It's just the timing of it. So they've got a 3-game winning streak against them, and hopefully they'll keep it going whenever they do play them next.
Did you at least remember to pack your Nintendo Switch?
I didn't. I panic-packed yesterday morning.
Missed opportunity, man.
I know. I always bring it, and I especially should have had it now that I'm going to be sitting in a hotel room all day.
What's your game on a Nintendo Switch?
I like the Zelda games.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Glenn and I are among the elite group of people that can say we got 100% completion on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So this is a pretty cool opportunity that you guys get to talk to 2 people.
I didn't understand a word that you said.
I did not either.
Do both of you have completed the game?
We spent way too much time playing one video game.
Right.
That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Legend of Zelda, the Banana Slugs, what'd you say?
The Banana Slugs of the Wild.
Okay, and both of you have aced the game.
We have, yes.
That's impressive.
It really isn't.
For what it's worth.
I'm impressed.
It's more sad than impressive.
Let's just say those 500 or so hours could have been spent better elsewhere.
All right, so you don't have the video game system with you, Glenn. Maybe you'll just sit in the hotel and watch a movie. Can I make a movie recommendation to you?
I would love a movie recommendation.
Orgasmo.
It is a pretty funny movie.
Obscure one, but funny.
Glenn, have you watched the movie Orgasmo?
I haven't, so
Okay.
I guess that's what I'll be doing.
It's very funny. It's very funny. Isn't it the same guys who created South Park?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the South Park guys.
Did you ever see Basketball?
Yes.
Okay, I would say it's on par with baseball.
It's so stupid, but I love it.
Yeah,
It's the South Park guys. It's called Orgasmo. It's about a Mormon who goes into porno movies, okay? Thank you for talking to it.
That's my kind of film.
Yes.
It's everybody's kind of film.
Have a good day, Glenn. Thanks very much, and we'll watch you during the series, of course.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Glen Perkins. Brought to you by Xfinity. Stream sport from the best seat in the house with Xfinity. Randy Shaver, see Willi Myles. You guys watched Orgasmo?
Yes, I did.
Did you see Willi?
Yeah.
I love it. It's fun.
Well, I'm a big South Park. I love South Park.
Do you?
Yeah.
Remind me, Nick, is Orgasmo the one where somebody calls somebody else a Buttlord?
Yeah. That was the first time I ever heard that term used in
It's still so funny.
in a movie. And it cracked me up. I didn't know you were a South Park guy. See Willi?
Oh yeah, back in the day, when it first came out, I'm not so much now. But back in when it was
I haven't watched it in years.
You can tell now they're praying for it to end.
Right.
I think they're
they're mailing it in.
I haven't watched it in many years. As a matter of fact, I didn't watch the first 4 or 5 seasons.
Oh, is that right?
There was a sweet spot for me. I didn't like it for the first 4 or 5 years because I couldn't understand a word anyone was saying. Cartman, I couldn't understand him, but I found a sweet spot in there somewhere. But
that show was so big at one time. Our radio station, we had a promotion every week to go watch it.
Oh wow,
yeah. That's how big it was back then.
Oh, after we were talking to Glenn, now I'm trying to think of the worst team I ever played on.
I've never played on a team that. I remember playing at Irondale High School. I remember
Iron Jail, they called it.
Irondale.
Yeah,
they were. This high school we played, they were like 0-10. Yeah. And I remember I was talking to the quarterback at the 50-yard line. We just met at the middle of the field, and I said, how?
How are you 0-10?
Yeah, how are you 0-10? And he goes, we don't even practice no more.
They stopped.
He said, we just show up for the game.
They gave up on practice.
He said they lost the first 5 games, and coach goes, I don't understand why we practice.
It doesn't have to be a team as bad as the Colorado Rockies, but just I'm trying to think of, I guess I was pretty lucky, and also damn good, obviously.
Right.
That I never really played on a terrible hockey club or football or anything when I was a young person.
Well, I was trying to think back from like Little League baseball all the way through basketball. Dude, I mean, I'm just saying, it's like I don't remember being like when I played high school football or baseball or basketball, we were never like 0 in anything.
I coached a really bad team.
I mean, we dropped 2 games in a row, but that was it, and then after that. But I went to a really good high school athletically and academically.
Before I got started with this, or maybe I was working. No, it must have been before I got into morning radio. Me and a couple of high school buddies decided to coach a hockey team.
Yeah.
And this was before you had to jump through hoops and prove that you were a outstanding citizen to coach kids at hockey. Now it's like a 6-month process, and they waterboard you and they give you a psychological exam and make sure that you've never committed any kind of a crime. Anyway. We decided to coach a midget hockey team, and they were not good. They were not good. And our head coach was a good pal of mine. I still see him all the time. He was the head coach, and I think it was our first practice. We, had him skating a little bit, and then it was, well, let's practice some breakouts, and they didn't get it. Let's practice some 2-on-1s. They didn't get it. Let's practice this or that. And finally, our head coach guy said, you know what, F it, let's just scrimmage. And we never had a structured practice the entire season because It was obvious it wasn't going to go anywhere.
It wasn't going to take.
It took one practice.
I think we should have tried a little harder.
I would agree.
But the head coach said, you know what, F it, let's just scrimmage. And that team did not turn out to be very good. You know your team isn't good when one of the assistant coaches, not me, but another one of the assistant coaches and one of our top defensemen were late for the pregame warm-ups because the assistant was selling our top defenseman marijuana in the locker room.
First thing first.
Oh, come on.
Kid was too hyper.
I couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, I knew we were coaching midgets and we were 21 years old or whatever. This was never going to be a very serious thing. We all knew that going into it. But I'm standing on the bench and we're in the middle of warm-ups and I'm like, well, where's Donnie, our other assistant? So I walk across the ice into the locker room to find Donnie. He's sitting with our top defenseman selling him a bag of marijuana. And the kid, the high school kid, puts the weed in his hockey bag, goes out onto the ice. And I said, Donnie, what the hell are you doing? He goes, oh, no, he's a good kid.
He just wants to get high.
And I said, if this kid gets busted tonight with a bag of weed that you sold him, you're 100% certain he's not going to say your name? And that's when Donnie said, oh, no.
He's a good kid.
I didn't think he should have done that.
No.
But that's just me. All right, what else is going on? Oh, Randy Shaver. Another iffy, sloppy, strange game. But the Timberwolves played a terrific third quarter last night in San Francisco. And the Fellers are up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors now, headed home for Game 5. The final last night turned out to be 117 to something. It doesn't matter. 110. Not a great performance again, but that third quarter, they outscored the Warriors something like 39-17, and that was it.
The Minnesota Timberwolves lead the Golden State Warriors 3-1, a chance to close it out on Wednesday night back in the Twin Cities. The Wolves have the most road wins in the postseason the last 2 years.
Well, and I think they'll do it on Wednesday. Steph Curry is not going to play.
You know that already?
That's already been decided that he's not playing Game 5.
And you're buying it? Are you buying it?
I am buying it because I just don't think that – I think they need that 3-day break between Games 5 and 6 to give him that extra time. But it's not going to matter because they're not going to get to a Game 6. The Wolves are going to win Wednesday. They'll get a chance to get a little bit of rest time because I think the other series in the West is probably going to go 7.
Looks that way.
Or at least 6.
Yeah.
And so I think they're in really great shape. Great third quarter. Anthony Edwards played great in the third quarter last night.
That'd be A1 from day one.
And that's all they really needed. They kept it close. Golden State in the last 2 games, they've thrown everything they have at the Wolves without Curry. I mean, literally everything they've got, and it's not been enough.
You know who hasn't been throwing everything they've got at the Wolves? Jimmy Butler. He seems tuned out. He seems completely tuned out.
Well, last night for sure. The game before, he threw everything at him.
Yeah. But throughout this series, how many games have they played? 4? 3 of the 4 games, he just seems like, whatever.
Yeah, I would say in Game 1 when they won, he was active. He wasn't needed to score because Steph was playing well, but
he's such an odd dude. I wouldn't doubt if he's just cashed in. You know what I mean? He's just tired.
Well, you're down 3-1 without Curry going back to Minnesota. Probably not a great chance to win that game.
Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying watching Jimmy Butler just kind of stand around all night long. But it's bizarre. He's the guy who was supposed to carry the load without Curry, and there were times last night where he just seemed completely disinterested.
I mean, this was a team that played 13 players a game on a fairly regular basis during the regular season. And last night when they needed a little bit of depth and some help, they had none. I mean, Kuminga was decent off the bench, but they got really nothing else.
Steve Kerr put the JV guys out on the floor with about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, Golden State, again, they've thrown everything at the Wolves that they can, and it's just not enough. And it won't be enough in Game 5.
They had a nice lead going into the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter was for sure the worst-looking fourth quarter in playoff basketball history. I stayed up till the bitter end. My God, that was one horrible fourth quarter, but it really didn't matter. Julius Randle was terrific again.
Yep.
So Game 5, which might be the deciding game in the series, is tomorrow night right here in town. And they've already announced that Curry isn't playing. Well, then they better win that game because Game 4-5 is tomorrow night. Game 6 isn't until Sunday.
That's correct. That's what I'm saying.
You could recover from a car wreck between Wednesday and Sunday.
Seriously, that's insane.
Yeah. I mean,
so don't put that pressure on me. Don't do that to me. Don't lose Game 5 here at home.
Then you got to go back to.
And then you got to go back there with Curry.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
Close it out.
All right. Hell, the New York Knickerbockers might They might just get their asses into the Eastern Conference final series for the first time in 25 years. They have a 3-1 lead in their semifinal series with the defending champion Boston Celtics.
And Tatum is hurt. He's going to get an MRI on his leg. I don't think he's, at least from what I saw last night, they had to take him off on a wheelchair last night.
Yeah, that didn't look good.
He looked in pain. Jaylen Brown back in, lost the ball. Anunoby all by himself throws it down. And Tatum is hurt. Tatum is down. He wants a timeout. Tatum in so much pain. And the Celtics call timeout, grabbing that right ankle. And that's the final timeout for the Boston Celtics. But more importantly, Tatum really shaken up.
I feel bad for the guy, but anyone else notice that for about an hour afterwards, we all had to stop space and time in order to figure out if anything was permanently wrong with Jason Tatum? Even during the Wolves game. We'll check in as soon as we know something about Jason. Look, save Jason Tatum for later. I'm trying to watch the Wolves and the Warriors.
Right.
Jesus.
I mean, the Knicks in Indiana, I don't think many people would have said that's going to be the matchup for the Eastern Conference semifinal, or the Eastern Conference final.
No, most would have said Cleveland-Boston.
Yeah. But give the Knicks credit. I mean, they have played their butts off.
Yeah, they have.
In these 4 games. They were down 20 in games 1 and 2 in Boston and rallied to win both games. So you got to give them a lot of credit.
Sure, Indiana can eliminate Cleveland with a win tonight. Thunder Nugget Game 5. That series is tied. Come on, the Dallas Mavericks won the NBA draft lottery.
So they had like a 1.8% chance?
Yes,
exactly.
As soon as that happened, social media blew up.
Come on.
It's rigged.
We're supposed to buy this.
It's all rigged.
They're flying a little too close to the sun on this one. They're
that
making
is
it a little too
so obvious and ridiculous, and it's a shame.
The Utah Jazz and Washington are just dying.
Right.
It is crazy.
Here's the truth. The Mavericks had a better chance of drawing a specific card from a 52-card deck than they had of winning last night's lottery.
Yeah.
That lottery, that was bought.
But they did it. So
Now, Brad Ryder's been in the room for a lottery. So when he's on tomorrow, I'm sure he'll dispute the fact that it's rigged. But, man, it's hard not to.
It's too obvious.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Of course, there was something going on last night. The Dallas Mavericks traded baby nuts. A lot of folks say it's just the worst deal in sports history. And then somehow they win the draft lottery last night with a 1.8% chance of doing it. Silly, stupid.
And of course, that means they'll take Cooper Flagg,
right?
And to throw him in then with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis as building blocks. That's, at least for a couple of years, that group may be interesting to watch. I mean, Flagg eventually, he's only 19 years old.
Right.
He's going to be around for a long time. He's a very good player.
So the outcome of last night's lottery, they say here, will go down in history with some of the other great theories surrounding the NBA, like when the New York Knicks won
Patrick Ewing.
The lottery in 1984 and got Patrick Ewing, who was perceived to be the best.
And the year that Shaq was number 1, the Wolves had the worst record. It wasn't even close. And they ended up, did they end up 3rd in that lottery?
I don't recall.
Yeah, but they were supposed to get Shaq. That was supposed to be the pick.
But what was the exact details of the Patrick Ewing scandal? The Knicks did not have a great chance to get the number one pick.
Kind of like this.
Yes, kind of like this, but they got it. And the theory, wasn't it someone, the theory is, conspiracy theory, that someone put, they used to open up envelopes, I think.
Yes, that's correct.
Or maybe they still do. I haven't watched this in years. And the theory was someone put the New York Knicks in an envelope and put it in the freezer, so whoever put their hand into the bucket would know which one to grab. Grab the cold one.
Yeah, they said they put it in dry ice.
Dry ice.
Mm-hmm. That's the theory.
And then, ta-da, the New York Knicks have won the draft lottery, and then they get Patrick. Right. Oh, the other theory, or great conspiracy theory mentioned in this article along with the Patrick Ewing thing, was why Michael Jordan stepped away from basketball to play baseball.
Gambling.
Right. That's the other big theory, is that he was in big trouble with gambling and they needed to get him out of there for a couple of years.
So I looked up that 92 draft where Shaq went number 1 to Orlando. The Wolves had the worst record by far, like Randy said, and they got bumped down to 3. So when Shaquille, Alonzo Mourning, and then Christian Laettner to the Timberwolves.
Yep.
I would have preferred one of the first two guys.
Yeah.
Although
that was also the year where that was the Dream Team practice out in San Diego, because I was in San Diego covering the Dream Team, and Laettner was there, obviously, as part of that Dream Team. So very bizarre. His mom ran a press conference. It was just like a very bizarre time for the Timberwolves.
Randy, were you there for the infamous loser, point at me, winner moment for Christian Laettner?
I don't know if I was there, but obviously that was a big story too.
That's pretty funny.
That's one of my favorites ever.
Yeah.
Christian Laettner walked around the Wolves locker room. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, correct.
Everyone else is seated. He's on his feet, and he points at every player in the room, and he says, "Loser, loser, you're a loser, you're a loser, 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 loser," and then points at himself and says, "Winner."
I love that.
I wish he would have done the half-baked routine, though, where he goes, loser, 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 you're cool, loser, loser, winner.
Never saw it.
That doesn't seem like your style of film.
But I know the joke.
That's funny.
The documentary I Hate Christian Laettner is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen.
That is very good.
Just watched it. I enjoyed it as well.
And Christian is pretty open about how he might have had a slight attitude problem at times.
Oh, you think?
Speaking of Michael Jordan, here's some terrible news. NBC announced that Michael Jordan will contribute to NBA coverage on their network next basketball season.
I just want to know, because you know that's my brother. Yes, I love my brother Michael Jordan. I just want to know, is it going to be the Michael Jordan, that you see on television, or is it going to be the Michael Jordan we speak to? Because it's the Michael Jordan we speak to, it's going to be epic. It's going to be epic. This brother, the things that he will say and the way that he says them and the way that he breaks them down, Lord have mercy. Molly?
I like Stephen A. Smith.
Can't stand him.
You don't like him?
He sounds a lot like my aunt that smokes like 10 packs of cigarettes a day.
Now that's all I'm going to hear.
He was on Law and Order the other night, and they killed him off 30 seconds into the show.
They did?
Was he a bad guy then?
No, he wasn't a bad. He was an agent, but he was talking like Stephen A. And I was like, I told my wife, I'm not going to watch the rest of this show. I love Law and Order. And then it was like they cut away, and then they found him in a park like dead. And I was like, okay, I can watch the rest of this.
They killed him off. That's funny. I didn't know he was a real actor. Or
he's been on soap operas and stuff, and that's why he does what he does. I'm all for talking heads, but I don't like arrogant. You ain't did crap to be talking about people like that. Nothing.
I like the guy. I think he's funny. I do not like Michael Jordan, and it's too bad. It sounds like Stephen A. Smith is just another one of those people who's just enamored with Mike. No matter what he says or does, he's Mike, so he can get away with it. Makes me sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate Michael Jordan. I grew up liking the guy. I mean, he was 8 years old. He was winning championships. Of course, you're going to like the guy. But I've never once saw a basketball story and thought, man, I need to know what Michael Jordan has to think about this or has to say about this. Just doesn't seem like that interesting of a guy.
Two Stanley Cup best-of-7 playoff series are at 3-1. Carolina up on Washington with a 5-2 win last night. Edmonton up on Vegas. The Oilers shut out the Knights 3-0. Jet Stars Game 4 tonight with that series at 2-1 Dallas.
Hockey still going on?
Yeah.
I was just thinking the same thing.
You'll be saying the same thing a month from now.
I believe I was last year, I think somebody said something about hockey, and I was like, is hockey still going on? How can it be? It started like Christmas.
Oh, man. The Indianapolis 500 coming up in a couple of weeks. I've never really been drawn to the Indianapolis 500.
It's a circle.
It is. It's a giant circle. A friend of mine went out and watched the race live a few years ago.
It used to be such a big deal growing up.
Yeah.
Such a big deal.
A friend of mine went out and saw it live and said it was just awesome. I've just never been. Drag racing is more my thing, I guess. Anyway, Creed, the rock band, is going to have their own car at the Indianapolis 500. They've teamed up with, what does this say? Meyer Shank Racing. And so look for the number 60 Honda, sponsored by SiriusXM, some kind of a thing happening there. The driver is a Swede, a big stubborn Swede, by the name of Felix Rosenquist. And the car will have the Creed logo on it. And the band's going to be there. It's not out of the realm of possibility that this Rosenquist dude might win the race. He's one of the good ones in the field. And, I mean, we've seen hard rock get into motorsports many, many times. I mean, speaking of drag racing, I remember when Rat had a funny car. Kiss has had a funny car. What does this say? I'm missing. Oh, Ghost. Ghost had a NASCAR a couple years ago, the band Ghost. But this is just the most amazing thing, what's been going on with Creed the last few years. These guys were kicked around as a punchline mercilessly for years. And now, I just read, they've got a summer tour coming up, and they've already sold over 1 million tickets.
People are obsessed with them now.
How did this happen? Does anyone know how this happened?
Honestly, I really noticed it when it became popular because of the Vikings locker room.
Vikings locker room.
Yeah, they played the song or something like that.
That wasn't a Cousins deal?
Yeah, it was a Cousins thing.
Ever since that happened, I just can't get away from Creed. I can't get away from it.
I'm not saying it's good or bad that they're having this resurgence. I was kind of always mediocre, lukewarm on Creed. I thought they were okay. But it's just amazing how they've made this comeback where Josh could tell you, 10 years ago, if you said Creed, people would kick your ass. I mean, not literally, but they would just laugh in your face.
They were kind of like Nickelback kind of took over that crap that Creed had.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They're played on the radio all the time. They're looked at completely different than they were.
What happened?
Well, if you stick around long enough,
yeah,
you marinate on people.
Everything uncool eventually becomes cool again for a month or two. It's not usually we sold 1 million concert tickets, though.
Right.
You know.
Well, when they first came out, they were massive. And that people just probably got sick of them. And then Scott Stapp, just people got sick of him.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
But how did they get to 1 million concert tickets sold cool again?
Like
that is very rare.
If more, like you hear it at stadiums and things like that, and maybe people are getting into it from sports, but it's kind of weird how they've come back.
This is beyond weird. They've done it. They've come back to a level that I've never seen before. Never seen before.
And if my buddy Stolly is listening, do you think for 1 second I forgot that you borrowed my Creed CD in 8th grade and never gave it back?
He's still holding on to that one?
Still holding on to that one.
What a jerk.
I know.
Wow.
I remember the first time I saw them on television, I thought they were a joke.
Really?
Like a parody band or something?
Well, because I guess I'm not exactly sure what I thought, but it was that one of their first music videos where everything's in slow motion. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a cologne ad or something. Dude's wearing the white tank top and everything's in slow motion, and the look on his face is so deep and expressive. I thought, this is a Saturday Night Live bit or something.
Yeah.
I had the same reaction the first time I saw the band Nelson.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a joke. Two twin brothers with like show pony blonde hair.
And it was completely straight. They look like girls.
It was horrible. I thought they ended up selling a lot of records too.
Yeah, they did. I bought one.
It didn't last, but Creed.
Wait, when's the last time they released an album? 2010?
Creed?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Oh, somebody texted in and said there was a TikTok trend based on a Creed song. So there you go.
Social media must have been
That'll do it.
Creed bombing. That was fun for a while.
Yeah, man. All right, before we go, I something else I don't get too deep into is the Kentucky, how do they call it? What's the rest of that? It's Derby. I don't get involved in the Kentucky Derby. I don't really care much for horse racing at all. The horse who won this year's Kentucky Derby, called Sovereignty, what do they call the guy on the back?
The jockey.
The jockey is in trouble for smacking the horse too many times when they went around the track.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was a limit.
Yeah, I didn't either. You can only wail on a horse 6 times when you go around the track at the Kentucky Derby, or maybe everywhere else for that matter. I wouldn't know. And the jockey hit him 8 times, and so that the jockey's been suspended.
Yes.
Okay. And fined $62,000. The jockey.
I was today's years old when I just learned that.
Yeah.
It was more because they do like a percentage of the purse, right? That's how they do your fine. But I guess he's been busted for this exact same thing before.
Oh, he's an animal
repeat
beater.
Offender.
He says, I was caught up in the moment. You don't keep track of it when you're in a race. I don't know.
It seems like something you should probably keep track of if there's a limit.
Here's a guy that's not going to lose any sleep over this at all.
Right.
I just didn't know that.
No, I didn't either.
So you got counters. So you got somebody up there, but they got to only be watching one horse.
Yeah, the spank counter.
So however many horses is, that's how many counters you got to have.
I guess.
And you're only watching horse number 6.
Yeah.
And that jockey.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Those little hand clickers.
That sounds like something I can get into.
I would get into MMA or boxing if there was a limit like that. Hey, you can only hit this guy 6 times.
Better make the 6th one count.
If I can survive that, maybe. All right, Randy Shaver, we'll let you go there, son.
All right, see ya.
Thanks very much. More with Willi Myles when we come back.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Former MLB All-Star Sean Casey, a.k.a. The Mayor, keeps hitting it out of the park.
Take my 30 years of experience. Take the wisdom and knowledge that I've learned from the failures when I got sent down my rookie year, all the injuries I had to overcome. Your mind is the most important tool you have in life. Be relentless. Keep charging. It matters how you talk to yourself, how you look at the world. That matters. We talk about that. I don't know. I'm fired up. Baseball's back, and it's going to be incredible. I love it.
The Mayor's Office with Sean Casey from Believe.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show 93X.
Oh, my damn. What a wonderful thing we got going here. Welcome to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show with our pal, Willi Myles, in studio. Willi.
He sure is, sitting right here.
A man who attended St. Cloud State University.
The legendary Harvard of the Midwest.
That's what they call it.
St. Cloud State.
Tell us if you can, Willi. Think about it. Take your time if you have to. The wildest moment from your days at St. Cloud State. The wildest moment. The most lawless. Crazy. Think about it for a while if you have to. We've all had some wild times back in our college days. Right, Josh?
We did.
Were there ever themes to the parties? Willi, while you're thinking about the wildest time, were there ever themes to the parties at college back in your day?
Yes.
Themes?
Absolutely.
Really?
It's a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
Really? I've never been a theme guy, just in my own personal life, like themed weddings, not my type of a thing. I spent a lot of time at St. Cloud State University in the early 90s. We never had a theme for anything. No parties had organized themes. So my assumption was that must have come along after our heyday had come and gone. I mean, there was an underlying theme that was never mentioned, and that, of course, was let's binge drink and then have sexual contact with a complete stranger.
That's every college party.
Right. So you're saying there must have been a gap in there somewhere. So you're saying when you were there, because you're a little older, when you were there were what were the themes?
This is a true story. So one of the theme parties that I went to at St. Cloud State was called the Ghost. It's called Ghost Party. So if you've never been the premise of the whole party was to get with a girl, talk to her the whole night, and then just disappear. Like, don't say goodbye to her or nothing. Just, because that's what girls used to do to guys back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So you would you and your bros would take one night a year, maybe multiple nights a year, and just be dicks. And you would befriend these women, lead them to believe that you were interested, and then just walk.
And then just like lead the party.
So it was like a revenge thing.
Well, no, it was, and they didn't know until like the next day they go, it was a ghost party.
Okay.
And like you got ghosted.
So then you would reconnect with them. Usually you would say, hey, sorry
you
about that.
You would again and just go, that was, hey, that was the show. I'm sorry.
Josh, do you remember college age parties where there were, parties you went to at colleges where there were themes?
No, not necessarily. This is the closest I could come up with when I went to Moorhead. In our dorm, the floors were separated by class. So, we were freshmen, so all the freshmen are one. So the sophomores were right above us.
Yeah.
And they had a porn and spaghetti night, just the sophomores, where they would show up in one particular room. It was the biggest room on the floor. And it was like Friday nights they'd have this porn and spaghetti night.
It's incredible.
That's the only theme I can really think about.
How did you do in that department? Because
I wasn't allowed. Freshmen, it was only for sophomores.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just people on that floor could go. We went to one, and then they told us, hey, you can't be here.
You're not much of a porn guy.
I love spaghetti, but not porn.
You love spaghetti.
Yeah. Can I just get my spaghetti to go?
Yeah.
If I remember right, weren't you watching a porno movie when you were a kid and also eating raviolios and you almost vomited because you'd never seen such graphic sexual contact?
It's a shame I had to give up raviolios for many, many years.
Oh.
I was told we were going to be watching a different movie, Willie, but my friend had raided his dad's porn, alcohol, and gun cabinet.
Oh, my God.
And he brought 2 out of the 3.
Oh, okay.
Alcohol and porn. And he put it in a different VHS box, right? So I thought, we're going to watch an action-adventure movie, and they put that in, and I was shocked.
Did it have a funny name, or am I confusing stories here?
No, you're right, it did, but I don't want to say because it was horrible.
Okay.
I mean, there are some bad things that happened.
I don't want to bring that back up.
So that was my first, and maybe that's why I'm not, it's partly just the Catholic upbringing, and I think partly because my first experience with porn was awful. Even I think a seasoned porn watcher might go, dude, what's happening in this?
And it ruined a favorite meal.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Raviolios were delicious. They probably still are. It's been years. Ashley, Dana, when you were college age, there were quite a few themed parties.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, there was
outfits
plenty.
And
the 2 that were probably the most popular were...
Well, don't say it. Don't say it.
Okay.
But when I mention them, I want to hear your stories.
Okay.
Because younger people have been talking about themes on Reddit, and already we're getting text messages here, 651-989-9393, from younger people saying, oh, yeah, this theme, that theme. That wasn't part of my generation. I mean, outside of Halloween, that was just not a thing. We would just show up and
what about
drink
a toga
our
party?
nuts.
I went to a toga party once.
That was one of the ones I was thinking of.
Okay.
Those were common.
I'll tell you here in a minute, yeah. So, younger people, if you feel like it, tell us if we're missing any here. On Reddit, folks have been sharing their favorite style of theme party from their college drinking days. Again, this is completely foreign to me. First on the list is toga party. Okay, so you went to a few of those, Ashley.
Those were very common, yeah.
Okay. Never went to a real toga party outside of, because like I said, it just wasn't a thing anywhere. outside of which WrestleMania was it where they were at Caesar's Palace and it was terrible?
I think it was 9.
7
maybe.
Giant Gonzalez. It was just terrible. It's widely renowned as the worst WrestleMania. That was at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, and WWE called it the world's largest toga party. So we ordered that pay-per-view, and me and Big Al and my brother, just the three of us, did get into togas and drank beer while watching that year's WrestleMania to fall into line with the theme of the world's largest toga.
Was there a woman within 5 miles?
No, it's just the three of us.
That's awesome.
And my dad came home from over-the-road truck driving to see two of his sons and their best friend dressed in togas sitting alone watching a wrestling paper.
No chicks.
Okay, toga party. The old standby, they call it. Wrap yourself in a bed sheet and make some bad choices. Dana, you went to those in college?
They were pretty common.
Okay, here's one that's been texted in quite a bit already from our damn text machine. ABC, anything but clothes.
Those are always fun. I love those.
Yeah, those were super fun.
I'd never heard of it until the text started coming in. Legitimately, everybody was naked.
No.
You wear something, but it just can't be clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of a very common one.
That's very different.
That's naked.
A very common outfit that I would see is like an outfit made out of empty beer boxes.
Yeah. Right. I've seen pictures on, like the Chive. I've heard of an anything but clothes party.
Ooh, body paint. Is that something that happens?
Well, how risky did it get?
I love
Ashley and Dana.
It got pretty risky. There's always some accidental nudity.
Was there body paint?
Accidental,
It wasn't accidental.
I don't remember seeing any body paint.
Body paint, a lot of like
duct tape,
caution tape.
Duct
Like
tape.
the police might
Caution
use
tape.
around the scene. Right. You wrap that around your body.
You've been to these, see, Willie?
Yes.
As when you were a college kid?
Yes.
Well, what the hell was going on in the late 80s into the 90s? Why did no one do that?
Oh, St. Cloud really cracked down on parties after about 87.
Well, hell no, they didn't.
Well, I mean, the big ones. After the dumpster fire.
I mean, I remember what you're referring to, but we partied no one stopped us from partying up there.
Right.
Okay. There's something called Power Hour.
Oh, those are a great time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It says here, every minute there would be a new song and a shot of beer. You would...
Yeah,
so when someone's sitting by the stereo, you play a song for 1 minute, then you click to the next, and you get to drink a shot of beer.
And then there's also programs like on iTunes that would just flip the song every minute.
We used to just play those at house parties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
play what?
Popular pregame thing before the bars.
Oh, you guys would play, drink a shot of beer every minute before you went to the bar.
We'd play that in high school.
Then there's also the Century Club too, which is if you can power through and do an entire 100 minutes. It's tougher than you think.
Case race teams try to finish a 24-pack of beer first.
That was fun. And party ball races, too, are popular in St. Cloud State. It was like 55 beers in a plastic Bud Light box. And you assemble a team and first person to... And you had to prove the party ball was empty by taking a knife, which is super safe after a group of people drinking 55 beers, and slash it open so that you can prove there's no more beer left inside.
Now, that does sound familiar.
My God. Dana sent me a picture of you going to one of those ABC parties where he's dressed as a knight, like a knight in shining armor, but it's all Mick Golden light box.
That's incredible, Dana.
Hey, you see the picture too?
Yeah, I love it.
That's actually, you did it very well.
I was proud of that one, yeah.
You should be.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Some of this stuff took so much planning. Maybe that's why it wasn't part of our everyday operation. Because none of us were really organized enough, let's put someone in charge of this and that. We could never accomplish that. Beer Olympics. Teams dress in different countries' flags. You compete in beer pong and flippy cup and quarters. There are fake medals dished out.
I've heard of those, but I never participated.
We always did it around the 4th of July, up north at a cabin somewhere.
Yeah, I played that at a cabin last summer. It was like the beer Olympics. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Except, holy cow, I was drunk.
The day can get away from you pretty quick during beer Olympics.
Yeah.
But you guys had the presence of mind and the organizational skills to go get a flag, go get a this, that, come up with medals and all that.
Somebody else planned it. I just showed up.
Show up and drink the beer.
Yeah, I'm not planning something like that.
I'm impressed by that.
Me too. I've never been good at that kind of thing.
God, it was so much fun.
No.
Oh, I could barely do that again.
Could barely even pack my bag if I was going out of town. And we got to take a break here. We've covered anything but clothes as far as a college party theme. Now, here's something or another called anything but a cup. Like anything but clothes, drinks must be consumed from literally anything except a cup, like a traffic cone, a vase, or a shampoo bottle.
Those seem relatively new. I think that's something that's popped up. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Dana. I think that's something that's popped up in the last 5-10 years, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I definitely remember people would have silly chalices or things they like to drink out of, but I don't remember a specific, anything but a cup type of
I
thing.
think colleges stole that from, is it 7-Eleven that does that? Where they have the one day a year, it's like Slurpee Day.
Oh, you can bring in a 5-gallon bucket?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Learning about party themes here. At least I am. The subject. Folks have been talking about their favorite themes at college parties from back in their day. My friends and I never did a theme for a party. It was pretty much the same vibe. Lots of people, lots of alcohol, loud music, eventually a fight or two, and then if you're lucky, you find yourself having unprotected sex with a total stranger. We never got involved in themes, so this is all very interesting. See, Willi Myles is here. You know a thing or two about themed college parties.
Yes, sir.
This is what we've covered so far. These are some of the favorites. Toga party, anything but clothes, power hour, case race, beer Olympics, anything but a cup. This was obviously not going to happen when I was a college-age kid because there was no such thing as Shrek. But it says here, people really enjoyed a Shrek rave or a Shrek party. You paint yourself green, and my God, save us.
What a mess. I know.
God help us all. They play nothing but Smash Mouth.
It's from the soundtrack.
Is that just the one song, or are there more than one Smash Mouth song?
I can just think of the one. I'm not sure if there's more.
No, that's the worst theme I think we've come across so far.
Yeah,
you have to paint yourself green, and you can listen to nothing but Smash Mouth. See, Willi Myles, what about a college theme party called Corporate Hoes and CEOs?
Oh, wow. That's a throwback.
Do you know that one?
Yeah, that was not a party. That was just the way of life.
That's just how they did it.
I'm so sorry.
That was called Friday night.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to any kind of a bros and hoes party in your college days?
Again, was not a party.
Right.
I went to St. Cloud State.
Those were very popular. I went to St. Cloud State.
Yes.
And you can imagine all the innuendos that get dropped, am I doing a good job, boss?
Yeah.
So the gimmick, if you don't know corporate hoes and CEOs, men wear suits, women dress as the stereotypical slutty secretary.
Right.
Yeah, it was a fun excuse to wear a cute cocktail dress.
Pencil skirts and things like that.
Didn't you like the movie Secretary, Nick?
I love that friggin' movie.
Yeah, I thought you were a fan.
Oh, it's one of the greatest movies of all. I do have some experience in this department. Povs in Andover, which is now a Hamida or something. I bar gigged there for 12, 14 years. For a few of those years, on Halloween, they had a Pimps and Hoes. They called it the Pimp and Hoe Ball. And it was a riot. And the waitresses, the outfits they would get into, breathtaking. Absolutely. Right. So I have been to a few of those.
We've got a pimp in my town. I mentioned him once before. I said, for whatever reason, I saw a guy dressed as a pimp walking around, cane, everything. And I brought him up, and people said, yeah, that's how he dresses.
Oh,
they see that guy all over town.
The Egan pimp, huh?
Yeah, you grew up in Egan. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
I haven't seen him since, but when I mentioned him, people are like, oh, yeah, that's pretty well known over there. I want to meet him.
Yeah.
Heaven and hell parties, slutty angels and devils everywhere.
Oh, sure.
White. Yeah. You're familiar? You've been to one of those, C. Willie?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But I heard of them.
Okay. White lies party. Everyone wears a plain white T-shirt with a personal lie written on it.
I've never heard of these ones before.
Yeah, so, for example, obviously she wouldn't be at a party. Maybe she would in St. Cloud. A pregnant woman wearing a shirt that says, I always make them pull out. I don't know why that was my first thought.
Right. I love that you added the maybe in St. Cloud.
Wow. Red light, green light.
My daughter made me one of those white lie party shirts, and she just wrote on there, I'm happy to be here.
That's perfect. Red light, green light party. You wear a red shirt if you're in a relationship, yellow if your relationship status is complicated, green if you're down for.
Yep, that was the other one I was thinking about. That was a really, really common one.
Down for action. Here's a few text messages from our listening audience on themed parties that they enjoyed. Boy, does this sound like a gong show. Something called Hundy Cup beer pong. 24 players on each side of the ping pong table?
Oh, never done that. That seems like way too much.
You play sideways? How do you do something like that?
Good question. That's all I have in front of me. That sounds like a great way for you and your buddy to turn an ankle. Sure, I've heard of things like this before. The Edward 40 hands. You tape a 40 to your hands. And
That's pretty funny.
It is funny.
I've never seen it. I didn't even know if it was a real thing or just something funny people say.
Oh, I saw it. And then, there's a guy who desperately has to go to the bathroom and nobody's going to help him. So he's got 40s taped to his hand. He's trying to shimmy his pants down.
Actually, I take that back. I have seen it. I saw it at a party. I think I was in high school, and I remember just being annoyed by the bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guy that was doing it. I mean, he was the only one doing it. And I was like,
wow. That makes a difference.
It says here the first one to take a leak loses in an Edward 40 hands competition.
That's how I'd heard of it.
Yeah, the goal is you got to finish him before you can take a pee.
What?
Yeah, people are texting in about my experience with the clown bus. Yeah, they tried to put that on us a few years.
Traumatizing.
I'm not going to tell that story in its entirety because that was a total nightmare. One listener texted in to say the only theme my bros and I had at any college age party was more or less, would someone please touch my wiener?
Come on over for the Please Touch My Wiener party.
Beach party in February at the University of Minnesota, one guy says. We put sand in the basement. All the women wore bikinis.
Oh, that's funny.
Fun.
That's awesome.
What is a stoplight party?
It's like a red light, green light party.
Same thing.
Oh, same thing.
Red shirt if you're in a relationship, green if you're down for a weird orgy.
Theme parties all the time, one of our listeners said. Cowboy theme, beach theme, 70s, black light.
Black light, that would have been fun.
In a college house?
Oh, yeah,
we did the Hugh Hefner. We did the Playboy Bunny House. And that was, but it was really kind of a laid back. Like it was no heavy drinking. Nobody got out of control. You just dressed in a nice silky robe.
Men were in robes.
We had a pipe, and the girls dressed in bunny suits.
That's awesome. It was a classy affair, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it was just, you just walk around, you just sit and, I didn't drink, but, so I was just, eating snacks all night, but.
I bet you made a very handsome Hugh Hefner.
I was a dope, I was a dope black Hugh Hefner with the Jerry curl. I had the full length robe though. I didn't wear like the half one. I just thought that,
you had to have a full length. The one that cuts off at the thigh makes you look like you're a 6-year-old on the run or something.
It was satin. I got it from Sears and Roebuck.
Dude, I bet you filled that robe out a lot better than Hugh Hefner ever
did. Yes, I did.
I miss Sears. I love
nothing under
Same here, Josh.
Finally, on the topic of theme parties, I always wanted, and this one got texted in a couple times. This is one that I'm familiar with. Not that I've experienced it, but I've heard about it many, many times. I've always wanted to have a key party.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those in movies, but I didn't know they were a real thing.
Yeah.
I had those all wrong until Dana sent the thing on it. I thought a key party was just when you throw that in there so nobody drinks and drives, but it's more about swinging. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a swinging thing.
When you walk in the house, you throw your car keys in a bowl, and at the end of the night, the women pick the car keys out of the bowl, and that means you have to go into a bedroom.
I was just watching a TV show, and it was about college kids. It's called Forever. It's on Netflix, and they did something where you just got straight to the point. You just put your name in a hat. All the men put their name in a hat. The women pull the name.
Well, sure.
Find them, and that's your person for the night.
One way to do it. Were all these people on bicycles or something? They didn't have any car keys?
I think it was high school, actually, so that's probably why.
Why did Josh bring 15 car keys to this party?
Someone's stacking the deck.
Someone's playing the odds.
All right, we got to get the hell out of here. But see, Willi Myles, you know how much we appreciate you.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I was glad to be back in here with you guys.
Never forget how much we appreciate you.
Never.
And good luck on the golf course.
Absolutely.
We'll see you again soon.
Happy anniversary to Crackin' Skulls Jesus from his smoking hot fiance. Thank you for listening. Have a great Tuesday. And Dana, crank that fader, Buttlord.
The Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.